Come on in. Come on in now. So, Auntie Leah can do a thing. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Salute. Welcome back to Kicking It with Auntie Leah. I got started just a little bit earlier today because I wanted to watch Nancy Grace's video. I'm just going to wait till other people come in. Give me a couple of minutes to let other people roll in. If you don't mind, if you can share the live. And if you can please like the live. We'll get started here in a minute or so.
Mama cried when the sirens came.
I'm just going to share the live real quick.
Another young soul gone, another family changed. We march for the truth, but the pain remains. Different faces, same story, just a different name. We grew up here and freedom reigned, but freedom feels different when you're fighting for everything. Working 2 jobs, still can't pay the bills.
Salute everybody in the building.
From the top of
hey, Yoka Mocha. Yo, Mocha. We just waiting on for other people to come in.
More division, more hatred, less unity. They tell us be patient, wait our turn. But how many generations gotta live and learn? Oh, we've been knocked down.
Salute everybody in the back. Can I get you guys to share the live and like the live?
But there's a fire.
Hey, Tasha.
They can't control.
I don't know why I don't see Tasha.
Very deep within our soul. My people hold
that's weird.
Don't let this world convince you not to try.
About to start here in just a minute. Just wait on some other family members to come in. If you please hit the like button and share the live and we'll get started. Salute everybody. Some of y'all comments I can't see.
Stop what we're fighting for. We are the voice, we are the light.
All right.
We'll keep up this fight.
Thank you so much for being here. It's about 30 more seconds.
Schools on the front of dreams put on hold. While promises fade and stories grow old. Mothers praying every night that the babies make it home all right. Fathers working till their hands are worn, trying to get their families a better morn. Still we rise when they expect us to fall.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for coming on back to Kicking It with Auntie Leah and the Truth Game. You know what? I started to go live a little later today, but I wanted to watch a video with you guys, and it's on the recording. I think it's very important that we watch it. I always like to get Nancy Grace's opinion on some things, and so she put out a video in regards to the recording that we're going to talk about this evening. We also want to give a shout out to Jeanette, who is an actual audio professional, technique or analyzer, whatever you want to call her, who also did her version. Man, I don't care what TMZ is saying. They diabolical and they gaslighting us at this point. Let's get right into the Nancy Grace video. Let me cut the music down for you guys so we can really hear the video. Guys, let's talk about it. I just skipped through it.
Breaking news tonight in the Nolan Wells investigation. Enhanced distress call audio bombshell. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
He was face down on the beach right at the water's edge.
If he was sent face down, that also doesn't make sense to me. If he's face down, wouldn't blood pool just by nature of gravity this way?
So right now we've got a lot of questions, but as the second doctor says, this is all still pending investigation.
If this were your child, wouldn't you want to know what happened?
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
What'd
Hello?
you say? Hey,
Yes, how far is the water coming up, sir?
it's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
What did we just hear? What was that? One more time, please.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
What'd
Hello?
you say? Hey,
Yes, how far is the water coming up, sir?
it's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
Straight out to investigative reporter Crime Stories, Dave Mack. Did you just hear what I heard? Now, this has been transcribed, and this is the CTO dispatch call. Because, Dave, when I first heard this, I thought, has this been doctored? Is this real? Where's this coming from, Dave?
Nancy, this is coming from from Mississippi, from the actual official. Okay, when we get into the Mississippi Fish and Wildlife and at the reserve putting this out for the public, this is not like from Dave Mack's recording. This is an official recording, Nancy, that is being issued, and it's shocking when you listen to this call for a tow, for the sea tow. Going further into it, Nancy, you're picking apart all of the different voices that can be heard on this one phone call, trying to determine what is really taking place on this boat that is allegedly sitting in 31 feet of water, a depth of 31 feet. And a bilge pump not working, claiming they're sinking, and calling for help. And yet, in the background, are we really hearing all of this other activity?
Guys, this was released from the MDMR, the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. Alexis Tereszczuk joining us out of LA, just joining us now, Crime Stories investigative reporter as well. Alexis, the transcription, I want you to listen to it, Alexis, as we play it again. This is obtained from the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. It's not something we just found on TikTok. Listen.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
What'd
Hello?
you say? Hey,
Yes, how far is the water coming up, sir?
it's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
Okay, Alexis Tereszczuk, jump in.
So it sounds like before the woman starts talking, the operator, everyone in the background is saying, "Is he dead? Nolan, wake the f- up." And so they are concerned about Nolan. They're saying, literally, is he dead? Nobody has ever, none of the kids on this boat have ever admitted that anybody said that they thought Nolan was dead on the boat. This is the first time that we are hearing this.
What is the chance that this has been doctored in some way, Alexis Tereszczuk? Because circulating on the internet was a scene where another young man was face down being attacked on the sand. That was not Nolan Wells. That's not Nolan Wells. Repeat. So there are bottom feeders that are fabricating evidence and circulating it, and it's whipping up all sorts of hostility. But regarding this, have you listened to it independently of any transcription?
I have listened to it. I've listened to it over and over, and I've listened to the audio where it's only the sound of the boy calling in and not the operator's voice. So it takes a little bit of the distraction out, and you can just hear the voices, the one friend saying, "Is he dead?" And we are hearing somebody very worried. They're saying, "Is he dead?" Somebody, you think you might have heard them say Nolan right before that. Somebody then says, "Oh my God." So the thing is, there have been a lot of false videos. People have said there was a video where Nolan was screaming, saying, "Give me my phone back." His friend says, "No, that's me in the video." There have been tons of AI generated videos and images and things, but this is the official audio from the organization.
Okay, let's hear the audio to which you are referring. Listen. Now, it's my understanding, Dave Mack, that sound we just played is real sound. That is not doctored sound, but someone else claims that's them saying, "Give me my phone back." That is not Nolan Wells. Explain.
Well, Nancy, what we have is some friends that were also out on the boat trip out to Horn Island that were with Nolan Wells and were friends with Nolan Wells, claim that was him, that he was the one that was saying, "Give me my phone back," that it wasn't Nolan Wells. So we've got an identification from the person who says, "I was the one saying that. It wasn't Nolan Wells." And when you listen to the audio, Nancy, it does seem like it is not Nolan Wells saying, "Give me my phone back." It sounds like the guy claiming it.
Guys, a lot of confusion surrounding the audio that has been released by the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. This, as we are also learning about an offer made by the United Cajun Navy to Ben Crump, who is representing Nolan's family, to Todd Terrell joining us, the president of the Cajun Navy. Todd, thank you for being with us tonight. Todd, explain to me the offer that you guys made to Crump.
Well, first of all, I want to make sure that I really am specific about the words I use because I don't want things taken out of context. Me personally, as president of the United Cajun Navy, made a call to Mr. Crump and offering him our services for dogs, cadaver dogs and specific scent dogs. I never heard back from him. Our incident commander, Josh Gill, did speak to Liza Parks, I think he's one of his lead attorneys or whatever, and offered the services as well. The rumors about us talking to Mr. Crump, personally, I want to set the record straight. Nobody, myself, nor anyone from United Cajun Navy spoke personally to Mr. Crump. We did reach out and make an offer, but we did not hear back from him.
Okay. Much has been made of the offer to, was it cadaver dogs, scent dogs, or both, Todd?
It was both. It was cadaver dogs and specific scent dogs. And, some of this needs to be clarified. Okay. And we did make an offer, but we did not hear from him himself. Gotcha.
There's a lot of people on the team. So who is it that you said you guys contacted or spoke with?
Liza Park. And we have a phone record. Our guy, Josh Gill, my incident commander, on the 13th, left her a message. And on the 14th, they reached out to her. And I think got back, I think it was 9:51 on the 14th. There was a 23-minute call with Josh Gill, our incident commander, and Liza Park, who I believe is Mr. Crump's lead attorney. And so they knew well what we did, the credentials of the dogs, and what our specific offer was. So they knew it ahead of time.
To Marie Pereira joining us, veteran criminal defense attorney. She is also a domestic violence expert and a registered nurse to boot. Marie, thank you for being with us tonight. Here's the deal. A lot has been made that Nolan Wells' family turned down an offer to have the boat searched with cadaver dogs, which, if they had hit on the boat, would suggest a dead body had been on the boat. Here is the fly in the ointment. It's not their boat. They can't give authority or permission or privilege for anybody to get on that boat and search the boat. So the fact that Crump's team didn't call back means nothing. They were not authorized to give authority or privilege or permission for anybody to board that boat, much less a cadaver dog or a scent dog.
You nailed it. And it's not his job or anybody else's to do what the police need to be investigating. After hearing that audio and knowing all the facts, they should be investigating this like it's a homicide and stop with the he say, she say from all of those kids on the boat who are presumed innocent at this moment, but I'm seeing and hearing guilt. Just off the fact that they even had his phone, that part. Why did you even have his telephone? I will never get over that, because even as an adult, my phone is my life. If I'm staying back doing anything, I'm staying with my phone. So they need to be investigating all of those kids, interviewing them piece by piece, one at a time. And I promise you, somebody's going to break and tell the truth here.
Joining me is Marie Pereira. You know, in any criminal investigation, the first thing you do is get all the parties, all of them, and you separate them and you question them separately. You give them a waiver of their rights. They read it, they sign it, you read it out loud to them, you get all this on video, and you ask each one separately what happened before they have a chance to get together and talk. I'm not saying the friends are guilty. I'm not saying they're innocent. What I am saying is that would have been proper police procedure. For all we know, it did happen. It doesn't sound like it happened, but for all we know, it may have happened. The next thing you do is you ask them, would they willingly take a polygraph? Now, you and I, Marie Pereira, know that in a criminal case, polygraphs are not allowed into evidence unless they are stipulated, agreed to before the polygraph is taken. It's the only way they come in. Now, in civil cases, they're allowed in. Think of O.J. Simpson. Didn't come in the criminal case, did come in the civil case, and P.S., he flunked it. That said, that's what you do. You separate them, you talk to them, you record it, you get their waiver of rights, you read their rights out loud on video, then you talk to them. Not hard. Next thing, you bring cadaver dogs and scent dogs on that boat. Now, scent dogs are going to hit on the boat anyway because they state Nolan was on the boat. So they're going to pick up Nolan's scent on that boat. Cadaver dog, whole nother story. And another thing, I would get a search warrant for it. You may not need a search warrant because a moving vehicle, as you know, Marie Pereira, under U.S. v. Carroll, that was the case that goes all the way back to moonshine days, bootleggers. If it's exigent circumstances, in other words, the evidence could leave. In that case, it was a car that was weighted down in the back. And the prohibitionists thought there was moonshine in it, and there was, and they stopped the car because the evidence would have been gotten rid of. Same thing with the boat. You may not even need a search warrant, but you could get one. That said, that should have been done day one. To Todd Terrell, President Cajun Navy, you guys have at your access scent dogs and cadaver dogs. Do you believe, Todd, that any evidence of a body on that boat would still be detectable, even now?
Not speaking specifically in this case, but in past cases, we've had dogs detect body, blood and smell months and even years later. our biggest thing was you got to eat this elephant one piece at a time. And if no one thought there was anything on that boat, they should be willing to allow dogs to go on the boat. So for us, it's a matter of just, it's another tool. It's a tool to use. You know, dogs aren't 100%, but these dogs are pretty damn close to it.
Joining me now is Elliot Connie out of Arlington, Texas, psychotherapist. He's author of Change Your Questions, Change Your Future. He's president and founder of the Solution Focused Universe. He's a star of Family Therapy Podcast and upcoming The Elliot Connie Show. Elliot, thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
You know, both sides are so ready to jump on each other. I imagine, I'm guessing, I don't know what Crump's thinking, but he did not have authority to release that boat. It's not his boat. That's like me telling you, Elliot, sure, go ahead, search Dave Mack's house. I don't care. You've got my permission. That's not my house. I can't give permission for you to go search it. So it's really simple.
That's absolutely right. It's really simple. I don't really understand so much of this. Like, people are, like you said, they're one side is going after the other instead of just accepting really logical things like the point that you're making here. Like, the family does not have the right to tell the other family what they can and cannot do with the boat. And other people are using that as evidence that there's something somehow wrong with what the family is saying, when all they really want is justice. And justice is the pursuit of truth. And it just seems to be triggering people in such an odd way that I, quite frankly, don't understand.
Guys, I want to circle back not only to the beginning of that MR, Mississippi Department Marine Research call. I want you to hear more, a different segment of that SEATOW, that's SEATOW call. Listen.
Right, looks like you're on Horn Island, correct? Are you
Yes,
on
we are
Horn
at Horn
Island?
Island. Yes.
All right, is the boat sinking or you have it aground?
We are sinking, yes.
Is it aground is the question?
No, we're not aground. We are in
17
foot of water. We're in 31 foot of water.
All right, have to ask. What do you want to do? Do you want to be towed back?
I want to get this boat unsank and towed back, yes.
All right, where would you like it towed to, sir?
You can tow it to Ocean Springs Harbor or Fort Bayou Launch.
You know, it just struck me. He's got reception. Why is everybody saying you can't make calls and you can't take pictures because there's no reception? He's out in the middle of the water at those coordinates and he's got reception. Remember that? Remember that, Alexis Tereszchuk, Crime Stories investigative reporter? We were told at the beginning that items were not deleted off Nolan Wells' phone, but he wasn't posting because there wasn't reception. But they're out in the middle of the water and they've got reception.
They do. He has really good reception and you can hear it clearly throughout this call. But the stories maybe have changed a few times. First, it was he didn't have any reception. The other was, nobody took their phones on the island because you had to wade through some water to get to it. And they even said, well, this is salt water, not fresh water, as if that matters to your phone when you drop it into it. But there are videos from the island. Even some of his friends are in videos from the island. So people clearly had their phone. And the other friend was arguing when we're talking about the videos that people worry about that have said that it was him. His friend was seen in the video screaming, "Give me back my phone." The phones were there. Other kids had their phones.
Okay, but before I discount claims that Nolan did not have reception, I don't know what carrier he had. Maybe he didn't have reception. My point is, why everybody's screaming to shut this investigation down, I don't know, because these are very rudimentary facts that we don't have the answers to. You know, he is talking about the boat taking on water. We are sinking. Come and get us. I want this boat unsank and towed back. But interesting, we learn that very boat took multiple trips later that very same night.
So first, at 9:56 a.m., the boat leaves the original dock. It arrives at Horn Island at 11:14. So at around 4 o'clock, there is a call to the Coast Guard about the boat. NBC News got a hold of it.
We're sinking. Can y'all please come?
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
Everybody's on board. So does that mean Nolan is on there? Who was on that boat? At 4:31, the boat leaves Horn Island and it is towed approximately 3 miles, and then the tow ends. So after 3 miles, they go back to the original dock, okay? They arrive at 5:44 p.m. So it looks like this is where Horn Island is, and this is where the original dock is that I am referring to. I looked it up, and El Camino Real Road is in Gulf Hills, Mississippi, which is right above Ocean Springs. So I'm wondering if this is the house where they got the phone. Now, the boat travels to Fort Bayou. At 6:06, the boat returns to the original dock. Then, from the original dock, the boat goes back to Fort Bayou, and then they go to the boat launch, and it is put onto the trailer and moved by the vehicle. Did they drop people off at the original dock, travel to Fort Bayou, pick somebody up, and go back to that original dock? And then from there, why was there an hour and 13-minute time gap? This boat was sinking hours before, and then they're just having it docked for an hour and 13 minutes. You would think they'd want to get that boat out of the water ASAP.
That's from the Real TikTok Detective and from NBC. So it doesn't sound to me, Dave Mack, that the boat was sinking, because they're going all over in the boat. So if the boat's not sinking, why the sea tow call? Why the distress call?
Yeah, Nancy, the one thing you have to remember on that first sea tow call, you hear them saying, we're in 30 feet of water, we're sinking, we need to be unsank and towed. But if you follow along with that communication, the sea tow company reaches out to a local captain nearby and says, hey, we've got a boat, can you go take a look? And the captain nearest to the boat says, hey, I just got a call from the owner of that boat. He says they've resolved the problem and don't need us anymore. So, and this happened during the course of 10 minutes, Nancy. So they're calling for help and then not calling for help. So something was definitely going on with this Triton 21-footer that they cannot explain.
Hi, guys. American homeowners. Home equity today. That's home. Use the link. Truth about the claim the boat was sinking, because it sure as heck doesn't look like it was. So why the sea tow call? That leads me back to the original sound from the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. With me now is Todd Shipley, digital expert. Todd, listen to this.
Sea tow assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
What'd
Hello?
you say? Hey.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
Joining us tonight, Todd Shipley, digital cyber crime expert, former detective sergeant Reno, 25 years in law enforcement, and author of Surviving a Cyber Attack, and author of Investigating Internet Crimes, Solving Crimes in Cyberspace. You can find Todd at darkintel.info. Todd, how can I tell if this is real?
It was supposedly originally gotten from the government agency that supplied it. It doesn't sound like it's a complete video to me to begin with, because there should be more conversation. So where's the rest of the video would be the audio. Then we can start to begin to forensically look at the audio to try to figure out and pull out the voices in the background. Because the question is, what are the people saying in the background? And what exactly are they doing? What sounds are in the background? Are they actually at the place that they say they are based on noise in the background and other things that are happening? So, I mean, we can look at a lot of those other things within the audio itself to try to identify what's there and what these people are saying. Pull out those individual quotes and try to isolate them based on what they're saying and slow it down, speed it up, that kind of thing, and pull out the background noise so that there's nothing else, so we can just isolate those things. There's several things that can be done with this.
Todd Shipley, if you had this audio, what would you do digitally to clean it up, enhance it, and isolate it?
Well, there's, as I said, there's some of the things that we can do is we can isolate the different tones, the different signal pieces that are coming through there in the audio. We can take that and isolate the individual people that are in there and try to identify who they are. And that's done digitally. We can actually just isolate the different streams that are there and pull out those different audio pieces.
To all the members of the panel, I want you to listen carefully to this without reading the transcription. One more time.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
What'd
Hello?
you say? Hey.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
Todd Shipley, the words, a man saying, "Wake the F up." I can discern that without reading it on the transcript. Where you hear someone say, OMG, I can make that out. I can make out what I think is don't die. They're screaming. What can you make out of this? Because if this is real, this changes the course of the investigation, Todd Shipley.
Well, it definitely does, and those are the things that we want to focus on. So we would look at adjusting the gain, taking out the static noise. We use tools to filter out different parts of the speech so that we can isolate that's being said and try to adjust it and make it more understandable. So there's editing techniques that we can use to try to figure out exactly what's being said, because that items in the foreground of the audio being the two people speaking on the phone are what we want to remove. We want to get to those other conversations in the background and try to isolate those by reducing the static that's there and adjusting the gain higher so we can understand what's being said better.
I don't quite get it. To Elliot Connie, psychotherapist and author, if items have been doctored, like the pictures I was describing earlier, where a young man was face down on the beach getting beaten by a group of guys, it's not Nolan. I'm not sure the incentive for pouring gas on the flame, but we have to listen to this and we have to try and discern the truth.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I share your confusion. Like, people want to believe that this was an accidental drowning, to the point where anybody asking any questions is experiencing massive amounts of hate online, including Nolan's mother and family and father. And I think it's really important to ask these questions. To the point of the audio that we've been watching, there actually is a version of this that a sound engineer has done exactly what Todd was just talking about, removing the foreground noise and enhancing the background noise. And you can clearly hear them saying things like, wake the F up, Nolan. And the very one thing that you can clearly hear in all of these versions is them screaming Nolan, which, to your point, would turn this investigation in a very different direction just by knowing that Nolan was on that boat. And I think it's important that we ask these questions. I'm so glad that you are on top of this, because we need people like you with your platform that don't look like people like me advocating for truth, because people have such a motivation to protect these kids. And I don't fully understand it when the motivation should be pursuing justice and truth.
Speaking of attacks on Nolan's mother, listen.
The only question that we have is what happened to our son. That is the only question. We have consistently been degraded by the public. There's been questions about our parenting, our GoFundMe, this, that, and other. I've been called a racist. I am a healthcare provider, and I take my job very seriously. I love everyone.
Not only is Nolan's family getting death threats, reportedly, but so are the so-called friends that were on the boat.
Well, I mean, with everything going on social media right now, with people saying the crazy things that they're saying, I would never want to take the attention off of Nolan and his family. They don't deserve that. And, for own personal reasons, I mean, I've gotten thousands of death threats. My family's got thousands of death threats. I couldn't bring myself to go because, I got to put my own safety first. And even if that means, missing my friend's funeral, I mean, it's horrible. And I wish I could have been there, but, that's what's been going on,
That is from the Officer Tatum show. Not only that, apparently law enforcement is getting threatened.
Our community is grieving the tremendous loss of Nolan Wells, who is loved and treasured by everyone. Nolan's family deserves answers, and our community deserves answers. Every death in the county, except those of natural causes and non-criminal car wrecks, are presented to your grand jury. Many people don't know that. We have handled death investigations in this manner my entire career. Nolan's case is being handled the same way, with the same care and the same commitment to the truth that we handle all death investigations. I understand the public's urgency to know what happened to Nolan, but we are not taking time for time's sake. We are taking the time required to complete the work this investigation demands. Since Nolan was reported missing, local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies have worked around the clock investigating what happened to him.
Hi guys, Nancy Grace here. Please join us on Crime Stories and stream it, bring it, and source trials with us. Crimes be you there. And
every credible lead must be followed to its conclusion. Every witness interview must be analyzed in context of all other evidence. The pressure for answers does not change what the work requires. Our responsibility to Nolan and our community is to complete this investigation thoroughly, carefully, without compromise, supported by the evidence and worthy of the confidence of the people we serve.
That is the elected district attorney in that jurisdiction. Apparently, everyone is getting threatened and attacked. That's not a very good climate in which to do your job, is it? Dr. Thomas Coyne, the chief medical examiner out of Tallahassee, District 8, toxicologist, pathologist, and neuropathologist, because everybody's taking heat. They're probably afraid to even walk to their car.
It does sound like a tinderbox out there. Yeah, no, I certainly wouldn't want to be involved in that investigation myself as well. So these can get pretty heated pretty
Dr.
quickly.
Coyne, sadly, you're getting dragged into it right now. Dr. Coyne, I need to talk to you about the body. And I'm going to circle back, everybody, to the Katie, the mystery Katie girl on Horn Island. Her sister spoke out on her behalf. Okay, and there's a problem with that, too. There is a discrepancy with that. But before I get to that, Dr. Thomas Coyne, thank you for being with us tonight. And yes, repeat, we're dragging you into it. Dr. Coyne, I understand why Nolan Wells's lungs were removed from his body and that the second examiner did not have them. He cannot complete his independent autopsy because he can't look at the lungs. I'm sure the doctor is looking at the lungs in Mississippi because they think he drowned. But why the throat? Why has the initial medical examiner kept the throat?
Well, I'll say anytime that you investigate a drowning, it's considered to be a diagnosis of exclusion, right? So you have to figure out why a person went into the water in the first place and why they couldn't get out. And let's assume, in this case, there was trauma that happened to a person, or something that prevented him from getting out of the water. Well, if there was, let's say, a battery or a fight that occurred, perhaps with injury to him and to his person, if a person, let's say, was maybe strangled or there was injury to the neck, if a person's been in the body of water for several days, especially floating face down, there's probably going to be some considerable decomposition. And one of the ways that we determine if there's trauma to the neck or if there's been, like, say, strangulation, is if there are hemorrhage in the neck muscles surrounding the airway, and if there's fractures to the cartilage and bones that are within the neck. But if there's some considerable decomposition, the blood that's within the major neck vessels can begin to leak out into the surrounding muscles and make it very difficult for you to differentiate actual hemorrhage from artifact of decomposition. So what they may be doing is preserving the neck itself to digest away all of those tissues, to really examine the bones, the highway bone, and the tracheal cartilage to get a better idea of whether or not there's any trauma or fracturing to those structures. That's the only thing I can think of that why you would want to keep those particular structures. Understand that there's no significant or no specific finding at autopsy that allows you to diagnose drowning, even the lungs. So the lungs may have evidence of, fresh water or salt water, looking under the microscope, but you can't tell whether that was active or passive movement of water into the lungs, if this was a body that was thrown into the water after death or a person who actively drowned. And so I don't know why they're saving the lungs, but the neck structures, I can make the argument that they're trying to get a better look at the neck cartilage as well as the bone, the highway bone in the neck.
So, Dr. Coyne, that was a lot. But two things jump out at me. Number one, are you telling me that the neck, Nolan Wells's neck, may have been retained by the initial medical examiner because the medical examiner cannot tell the difference in a bruise or damage in life, such as a fight, a strangulation, can't tell that from blood diffusion post-mortem during decomp?
Well, yes, there's that's one of the possible reasons. Your neck muscles have a lot of what's called myoglobin, red proteins that are present within the tissue. You have the blood that's within the jugular and carotid arteries that are along those muscles in your neck. Decomposition can discolor everything red, can allow movement of blood into tissue. And so if there is some confusion about whether or not hemorrhage in tissue is due to decomposition or due to actual injury, they may do a deeper look at those structures. And so that can include microscopic sections, taking actual tissue sections from that area, looking at it under a microscope, and perhaps also removing all tissues from those structures to just look at the cartilage.
That's a lot of words, Coyne. I like you, Dr. Coyne. I respect you, but just as a yes, no, if I can even form the question accurately, are you telling me the medical examiner, the initial medical examiner, may have kept Nolan's throat because he can't tell the difference in an attack on the neck versus decomp, blood dispersion during decomp?
If there was significant decomposition, that may be one of the reasons. I've never.
All right, so I'm taking that. Yes, that could be it.
So yes, absolutely. I can't think of any other reason. In drowning, sometimes you have less than 10% of drownings. There's the hypothetical dry drowning where a person can have a spasm of the neck muscles once you swallow water. But there's no physical finding that you could look at autopsy that would prove that. So I can't imagine they would save the neck for that reason. The only reason I can think of is that they're looking at the underlying structures a little more clearly.
So I don't think I need my medical degree, and I don't think I have to be the chief medical examiner in District 8 there in state of Florida, to figure out the first medical examiner kept his throat for a reason. What is the reason? Why the throat? Why not the foot? Why not the hand? Why the throat? There's something about the throat that the medical examiner is concerned about. You just heard Coyne explain it very clinically and in depth. I want to ask you something else. Can I see Dr. Coyne, please? Dr. Coyne, we were just showing you autopsy results, and it's from the second medical exam, the second doctor. That's it. Thank you, control room. On the back of Nolan's neck is deep subcutaneous reddening of the tissue. I've had one doctor who I respect highly tell me that that was pooling of the blood post-mortem. Well, I don't buy that because it wasn't pooled anywhere else on his body, on his back. So why there? It's not pooling. I don't believe that. Then somebody else said, oh, that happened because his head was on the block at autopsy. Well, the block at autopsy is usually 4x13. That is 8x12. Plus, that doesn't make sense. You don't bruise post-mortem. So there would not be markings on his body from the autopsy. You can't bruise after you're dead. Your blood's not pumping.
No, that's not correct. It's not bruising. It's this red discoloration. If it was actual hemorrhage or hemorrhage in the tissue, which is a bruise, then they would have called it hemorrhage in the tissue. They're calling it red discoloration. When a body, especially a decomposing body, is on its back, it has to get transported from wherever the body is recovered to the autopsy facility. It remains in the autopsy facility until the autopsy is performed. Then the head is cut open to reflect the scalp back. So first of all, if there was significant hemorrhage there, the first autopsy should have noted that. I don't know what their findings are, but understand that virtue, the process of reflecting the scalp to open the head and then sending the body off to do that second autopsy can also contribute to discoloration just from drying artifact. But when a body lays on its back, especially a body, if there's significant post-mortem interval, yeah, you can certainly have red discoloration just from leakage of both skeletal muscle proteins as well as blood from all the capillaries and blood vessels back here. And it stains the tissue, and very common to get it on the back of your head. You can also get it on your back, but mind you, they're not reflecting the back to look at those tissues in the back, but they are opening the head. And so that's probably why you only see that red discoloration recorded there.
I believe you're saying, I'm trying to interpret this from a layperson's point of view, that out of his whole body, he had blood settling on the back of his head at his occipital.
They're only looking at the back of his head, right? They're not opening up his back. When they do the autopsy performed by a Y incision that's created in front, and those tissues are reflected backwards. They're saying that's red discoloration because it's different color from the normal color of the occipital bone. They're also, from that photo, they're just putting red marker across the back of the occipital bone.
Dr. Coyne, to me, that didn't settle anything. But we can't settle anything because we don't have the full autopsy. So we're like the five blind guys feeling different parts of the elephant, trying to figure out what is it. Okay, we can't sign off until we address the Katie issue. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Alexis Tereszchuk, Crime Stories investigative reporter, but the friends on the boat say Nolan wanted to stay behind because of a girl he just met named Katie. Katie has been found, and she says no. He said he was leaving with his friends.
100%.
Do I have that much right?
100%.
Okay.
You have that exactly
Let's
right.
take a look at what Katie's sister says. Put it up on the screen, please. Katie had a conversation, assumed Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat that he came out in. Katie made it home. She was on another boat, different people, blah, 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 blah. Katie assumed the friends telling him to get on the boat would not have left him. Dave Mack, Crime Stories. What is Katie stating through her sister?
She is saying that Nolan did not stay with her on Horn Island, that she thought he was going back with the same people he came with. And by the way, got to add this, Nancy. Katie McCormick has been working with investigators, has been fully cooperative with them, the Wells family, and she says flat out that he did not stay with her. He went back.
Hi guys, Nancy to low if find $1 pay off to pay off what you get to 8 at call it findings are. If you know or think you know anything about this case, dial 228-769-3063. 228-769-3063. There is a $125,000 reward for information leading to the truth of Nolan Wells' death. We remember American hero Corporal Albert Gomez, White Settlement PD, Texas.
Okay.
Passed away in the line
All
of
right,
duty.
guys. So what do you all think? What do you all think? Let me turn this down so we can talk about it, because Nancy made some great points. She has some great experts on her live or her video or whatever you want to call it. I kind of think that the doctor is not taking in really what's really going on. So he's throwing some deflecting things on out there. But overall, I think that Nancy did a great job in digging in the phone call and taking us through the timeline and the stops of the boat and things of that nature. What do you all think? The next video that I want to look at is actually we had a professional audio enhancer actually enhance the video audio, and I know that a lot of people have already listened to it, but I want to bring it up so we can listen to it together, because we clearly, I don't know why TMZ is trying to gaslight the world right now, but we clearly hear what we heard. We clearly heard them say check his chest. We heard Bart. We heard them call Nolan's name. We heard them ask if he was dead. We heard all of that. Now, TMZ first agreed that they also heard some of those things, and then they later backtracked. So we'll get into that as well. So let me bring up the call that I want to listen to. And this is the professional video engineer. And what I appreciate about her is she clearly didn't use AI to enhance the video. And she actually goes through her process and she explains everything that she did. And she definitely tells us not to take her word for it. So let me take a few seconds and turn down the music so that you guys can hear it for yourself. Let's see what you guys think.
Before I play this, I want to quickly explain what I did, what you're looking at on the screen, and why I chose to approach this audio the way that I did. As a professional audio engineer with experience in dialogue editing, dialogue cleanup, sound design, and post-production, I decided to work on that CTO call using traditional audio processing techniques rather than relying on any AI voice separation or AI enhancement. My goal was pretty much to preserve as much of the original recording as possible while making the quieter dialogue and background audio easier to hear. So I basically used techniques such as subtractive EQ, compression, gain adjustments, noise reduction, frequency isolation, and other traditional processing methods. So what I did was I separated Vicky, the CTO dispatcher, from Warren and the audio originating from the boat so that I can concentrate more closely on what was happening behind and around Warren, pretty much on the boat. And I specifically chose not to rely on AI because aggressive AI enhancements and voice isolation tools can sometimes introduce artifacts and distort the speech or create ambiguity around the sounds that were originally present. And for something this serious, I wanted my processing to remain as conservative as possible. You'll also notice time code and dialogue written on the side of the screen and pop up during each segment. That dialogue represents what I personally hear as an audio engineer while processing and repeatedly reviewing these sections. I'm pretty much providing it as a listening reference, not as a declaration that my interpretation is the only possible interpretation. And that's important. I want you to listen for yourself, use headphones if you have them, listen closely, and decide with your own ears what you believe is being said. You can also return to the original unprocessed recording and compare directly with what you're hearing here. You'll also notice that my time code may not match the regular timestamp on the original uploaded video. And that's because I'm working inside a professional post-production timeline, a digital audio workstation, basically using SMPTE time code, which in film, that's displayed in hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. Film and TV timelines are completely different from timestamps that you see when you're watching regular videos or when you're watching a movie and you hit pause. So basically the time code on the screen is there to identify the precise location within my working session, not to represent the elapsed timestamp displayed by the original video player. And I hope that makes sense. For this first video, I'm sharing only approximately 37 seconds of the call. I originally intended to continue much further, but once I separated the dispatcher from the boat and started concentrating exclusively on the background dialogue, what I believed I was hearing became extremely difficult for me to process emotionally, and I needed to take a mental break. But I wanted to release this portion because some of the details that stood out most to me occur very early in the call, like right at the top of the call. And so I'm gonna let the audio play, read my transcription if you want to reference, but don't allow it to determine what you hear. I want you to listen first, listen again, compare it with the original recording, and then judge it with your own ears. I hope this breakdown helps. And my
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Hey, up! Shut the fuck up!
Okay, so before I play this, I want to quickly explain what I did,
All right,
what you're
hold on a
looking at on the
second.
screen, and why
So
I
what do you
chose to
all
approach
think?
this
Because
audio the
I'm
way that I
gonna
did.
slow it
As a
down,
professional audio
and
engineer
then I'm
with
also gonna
experience
speed
in
it up.
dialogue editing.
So I clearly heard everything. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to slow it down, and this time look at the words, her interpretation on the screen. She'll kind of tell you what she is hearing, and I am hearing also the same thing as well. So let's slow it down. I slowed it down to half speed, and let's play it again.
Okay, so before I play this,
speed it up to the actual call only.
On the dispatcher break, breakdown helps, and my
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
ears. I hope this breakdown helps. And my
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Shut the fuck up!
the Sierra with employee pricing for everyone, with the capability to handle what life throws your way. That's the GMC Sierra, leading where it matters most. GMC Sierra, it's the truck. Celebrate Independence Day with employee pricing for everyone on all GMC Sierra 1500 models. With 0% APR, that's over $13,000 total value on this Sierra 1500 Denali.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Oh, shut the fuck up! Damn it, Bart. What'd you say? Hey. It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now. I don't know the phone number. It's either Jerry Atkerson. I think it's Jerry Atkerson. Try that. I know we have a membership, like guaranteed. I don't have the tag on here. It got ripped off. Reach me at 2. What? Yeah, everybody's off the way. What? No, we do not need that. Let me go look. Will, Hey, north. All right, are you ready? North 30 degrees, by 46.72.
So this appears to
Sorry,
be
look.
only.
What do I need to send you? Yeah, what? No, we do not have the VHF radio. Okay, my coordinates are 30 degrees by 14.684 north, and then west by 88 degrees by 46.79. Yes, we are at Horn Island. Yes.
Guys, notice that
We were sinking, yes.
Wyatt keeps muting the phone.
Oh, we're not aground. We are in 17 foot of water. We're in 31 foot of water. I want to get this boat unsank and towed back, yes. You can tow it to Ocean Springs Harbor, or Fort Bayou launch. No, there's no children. Hey, drop in the water. Try to jump in and pull the plug, Bart, while you're going.
We heard you, Bart. We heard your name, Bart.
Hello. Okay, what's going on? What's up? There are 0 adults on board.
0 adults on board.
No. Nobody here is over the age of 21.
Well, adult is 18. Wyatt.
Hello? Yes, there's lots of people breathing on the boat.
Lots of people breathing on the boat. Diabolical.
Like 7.
Like 7.
Yes, we have life jackets available. A Triton, 22-foot offshore 20.
This guy said there is like 7. We got lots of people breathing on the boat. There's nobody on here over the age of 21. You're considered an adult at 18, right? Right. That wasn't the question. He said like 7. How do you not know how many people that are on the boat? And there's lots of people breathing. Why not say everybody's breathing? Why are you saying there's lots of people breathing?
2-foot Triton
I cannot.
offshore sea flight hull. Okay, thank you.
Guys, this is correct. This is crazy. I have no words. There are lots of people on the boat. There are nobody on the boat that is over the age 21. There's like 7 people. I don't know, like 7. Well, how far is the water coming up? I don't know. We're just sinking. We're just sinking fast. Come on. If they don't lock these up, y'all know I want to cuss, but I don't want to cuss. Let's get into John Lennon's. He had TMZ because TMZ know they messed up when they released that recording, not realizing that there will be some professionals that were able to separate the sound and do their thing. Shout out to Jeanette. Her name is Jeanette Brantley. She did her big one when she did that audio, y'all. I believe that it's gonna break the case wide open. But TMZ is backtracking, trying to take stuff back. So let's get into that real quick. Let me get this off of here so I can pull up the right one. Get this off of here. Just give me a moment, guys. I'm choosing the right window. And thank you for everybody who decided to stick around. I got 516 people in the building. Can we please get each and every one of you to please hit the like button while we listen to TMZ lie their ass off? And that's what they're about to do.
Do-rags. Woo! Sparked a little debate here on the show. So we'll be talking about that. I don't know if we'll talk about it today, but let me know what you think in the comments if you guys want to talk about it. But if you want to have a discussion, welcome to the show. I want to talk about this new audio that is out there from, there's an audio person who has enhanced this audio, and it has, everyone is up in a stir about it. And so we want to see, her name is Jeanette Brantley, and she isolated the video. She's explaining how she isolated it. And then we're going to bring in some folks to discuss it. Our very own correspondent, Daniel Grimes. And then we're going to bring in Charles Lataboudiere from TMZ to talk about it. Okay. So here she is in her own words explaining it. And then you're going to hear the audio.
Okay, so before I play this, I want to quickly explain what I did, what you're looking at on the screen, and why I chose to approach this audio the way that I did. As a professional audio engineer with experience in dialogue editing, dialogue cleanup, sound design, and post-production, I decided to work on that CTO call using traditional audio processing techniques rather than relying on any AI voice separation or AI enhancement. My goal was pretty much to preserve as much of the original recording as possible while making the quieter dialogue and background audio easier to hear. So I basically used techniques such as subtractive EQ, compression, gain adjustments, noise reduction, frequency isolation, and other traditional processing methods. So what I did was I separated Vicky, the CTO dispatcher, from Warren and the audio originating from the boat so that I can concentrate more closely on what was happening behind and around Warren, pretty much on the boat. And I specifically chose not to rely on AI because aggressive AI enhancements and voice isolation tools can sometimes introduce artifacts and distort the speech or create ambiguity around the sounds that were originally present. And for something this serious, I wanted my processing to remain as conservative as possible. You'll also notice time code and dialogue written on the side of the screen and pop up during each segment. That dialogue represents what I personally hear as an audio engineer while processing and repeatedly reviewing these sections. I'm pretty much providing it as a listening reference, not as a declaration that my interpretation is the only possible interpretation. And that's important. I want you to listen for yourself, use headphones if you have them, listen closely and decide with your own ears what you believe is being said. You can also return to the original unprocessed recording and compare directly with what you're hearing here. You'll also notice that my time code may not match the regular timestamp on the original uploaded video. And that's because I'm working inside a professional post-production timeline, a digital audio workstation, basically using simply time code, which in film, that's displayed in hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. Film and TV timelines are completely different from timestamps that you see when you're watching regular videos or when you're watching a movie and you hit pause. So basically the time code on the screen is there to identify the precise location within my working session, not to represent the elapsed timestamp displayed by the original video player. And I hope that makes sense. For this first video, I'm sharing only approximately 37 seconds of the call. I originally intended to continue much further, but once I separated the dispatcher from the boat and started concentrating exclusively on the background dialogue, what I believed I was hearing became extremely difficult for me to process emotionally, and I needed to take a mental break. But I wanted to release this portion because some of the details that stood out most to me occur very early in the call, like right at the top of the call. And so I'm gonna let the audio play, read my transcription if you want to reference, but don't allow it to determine what you hear. I want you to listen first, listen again, compare it with the original recording, and then judge it with your own ears. I hope this breakdown helps. And my
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Shut up! Shut the fuck up!
Okay. So there you have it. Let's put up the transcription, Andy. Daniel Grimes is our Washington, D.C. correspondent. I want to bring him in to discuss this, and then we'll bring Charles in a moment. This is sparking outrage and conspiracy theories, and it's explosive new audio and this whole story.
I mean, Don, this clip, I saw that you posted this clip on social. That was my, first introduction to this new part, which was right before the young man started speaking. And what I was able to hear, I chose to just listen before I read the transcript. We talked about this as a team. There's something called confirmation bias. So if you read through that transcript and then listened, you would try to look for the words that were there. And so I just listened myself before reading the transcript. And what I heard was, is he dead? I heard Nolan. And that to me appears to be damning evidence of the friends potentially doing something and being involved. Now, having said that, I am going to also say, listen, again, this was cleaned up audio. We don't really know, because Tim's either going to come on here in a second, and I know he's going to repeat what I'm just about to say, is that people said that they saw Nolan on the island after his friends had left. And if that is true, again, we don't know if that's true. If that's true, that would refute everything that this audio says, because again, his friends left. So he's allegedly seen alive by people hours later. Then what we're hearing in the audio isn't what we actually think we're hearing. But if what I heard, which is Nolan and is he dead, and people didn't actually see him later, then I think this would be damning evidence.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Every time we get something, I think it makes there are more questions than answers about this. But however, I'm really bad at these things. I have really good hearing, but I'm like because I'm hearing everything. Now, she didn't necessarily say that she enhanced. She said she tried to use as few of enhancing methods as she could. Basically, she just separated the tracks. Andy, you're a technical director. Tell us what she did. Yeah.
Well, I think she did more than just separating the tracks, because she talked about how she's a dialogue audio expert and used different techniques to, isolate people's individual voices. So I think there is more to it than like what I did, which is just separate the left channel from the right channel, which was dispatch audio versus the phone call. Yeah.
I mixed up with your thing and what she did. Okay, go on. Sorry. Andy.
Oh. Yeah,
so she used
that's about all I have to
mechanisms.
say. Yeah.
Okay. And then you separated the tracks yourself.
Yes. So I could play a version of the audio that I just downloaded from the WLOX YouTube page, and I just turned down the left channel, and the right channel is just the friend's phone call.
Okay. So and it is
anyone can do that at home.
Anyone can do that at home. And it's the same call.
Yes, minus her,
minus her
techniques.
And what people? Let's listen to yours and see what people hear.
All right, so I'm going to start it with both tracks, and then I'll restart it with just the friend's phone call.
Okay. This on hold music is.
So, guys, I want you to pay attention to this, because this is what TMZ muted out, the hold music. So, the beginning of the conversation, the guys that were talking did not know that it was being recorded. So, yeah, they were screaming, "Nolan, wake the F up," or "Is he dead? Can we cover it up?" Because of the hold music. They had no idea that that phone call was recording. That's what TMZ eliminated. Pay attention.
Sending me.
I know. Okay, so now I'll redo it minus the left channel, and we'll just hear the friends.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and
yeah, I can hear it without the transcript. I can hear it. I'm just listening to it, and I didn't know where the "is he dead" or any of that stuff is coming from. But yeah, I mean, you guys heard that, right? Is he dead?
Yeah.
But who knows what they're talking about?
Well, and again,
Nolan.
At this point, they are calling because their boat is getting water. It's sinking, and so. Yeah, I mean, I will say I heard "is he dead," and I did hear later someone else scream "Nolan." So, like I said, I think that if the accounts that TMZ is going to get on here and talk about in a second, because they're the ones that had the anonymous people speak to them, who said that they saw Nolan, I believe, 6 p.m., definitely hours after this audio was released. If those accounts are true, then all of our ears are deceiving us, and Nolan was still alive after his friends left. Now, again, they're anonymous sources. We don't even know. Like, TMZ is going to be able to speak to those better than I can. But if they're not true, then that's damning evidence. I mean, that's clearly involved.
Let's listen to the friend describing the boat taking on water, where they left. And now he knew. Now, this is like he said the boat was taking on water. I'll tell you my explanation, but let's just listen to him. I'll tell you mine.
People say that you guys just left Nolan behind. I've seen reports of people saying that you just left him. I see reports of people saying that you asked him to get on the boat. You told him to get on the boat. He didn't. What's the truth in that?
Well, Wyatt was having boat issues and the bilge wouldn't pump. So the bilge is basically a pump that releases water from your boat when water comes in. So I opened the back hatch and there's water up to the batteries. And that is obviously not good. There's water almost coming over the transom, which is where your motors sit and which is the, by the stern, like in the back part of the boat. So obviously we were in emergency. The boat, we're trying to save the boat. It's not like we didn't ask Nolan or we just left Nolan. Nolan decided to stay on the island with the girl that he was with. And the girl is a witness to that too.
Yeah.
Okay. So the thing is that the girl is saying no, but there are new folks who are saying, yes, he was there later. You have this new audio. And then the thing, look, I have my theory, but let's talk to Charles first before. Daniel, stand by. We're going to talk to Charles Lataboudier from TMZ. Charles, thank you for joining. You guys you spoke to the people, some folks who were saying that they saw him there after that. And then, of course, you guys also had the audio. First of all, what do you think of this audio? Are you hearing what she has here?
I listened to this audio probably 25 times this morning. I listened to it without earbuds. I did it with earbuds. I cranked up the speakers on my desk and slowed it down every which way. There are very few things that are very clear on it. To me, what's clear, someone yells, "Shut the bleep up." It's also very clear when someone says, "Oh my God." The two critical parts, or there were three critical parts. Is he dead? And the actual someone actually saying Nolan, and then the other part being when someone says something about his chest, about checking his chest. Those three things were not nearly as clear to me. They just never were clear. And I think what's happening is that people are having confirmation bias. That if you just listen to it without any words on a screen, without any caption.
Guys, pay attention. They are really TMZ, and along with others, are really trying to gaslight us and tell us we're not hearing what we're hearing. I heard Nolan's name more than once. I heard check his chest. I heard, is he dead? I heard, can it be covered up? I heard that. And nobody on this earth is going to be able to tell me any different. This is sick because they sent a black man out to try to gaslight us. They sent a black man out from TMZ to try to deflect from the truth. And then they're saying there's witnesses. And then he's going to go on to say, well, I haven't talked to them. They're saying, no, we don't want to hear hearsay at all. Let's keep going. I'm getting pissed.
There's something said, but I don't think any of it, those critical parts are clear. Now, when you listen to it with and watch it with a caption, yes, well then now your brain is hearing what you're reading. I just don't know that it's clear there. Now, the bigger thing is that call was made after they left the island. Wyatt and Warren and company, there were 5 other people on the boat, according to what Wyatt said to the tow company, a total of 7. That call was made after they had left Horn Island. We know they left Horn Island at 4:30. We know that from GPS data. So that if they're talking about Nolan and about Nolan being dead and checking his chest, if it were true, that means that Nolan was on the boat when they left Horn Island. We've spoken to people with direct knowledge of the investigation. These are not friends that we're talking about, but people with direct knowledge of the investigation who say that the sheriff's department has evidence.
These are not people that are directly related to the investigation. These are people that are friends. So you're telling us you're getting on a show with millions of followers. You're releasing statements to millions of people over hearsay, TMZ? Are you kidding me? Rewind that. He said he didn't talk to them directly. These are not even the people that say that they're witnesses. They're friends of people. Diabolical.
Wyatt and Warren and company. There were 5 other people on the boat, according to what Wyatt said to the tow company, a total of 7. That call was made after they had left Horn Island. We know they left Horn Island at 4:30. We know that.
This isn't about Chicago.
So
stay on topic.
If they're talking about Nolan and about Nolan being dead and checking his chest, if it were true, that means that Nolan was on the boat when they left Horn Island. We've spoken to people with direct knowledge of the investigation. These are not friends that we're talking about, but people with direct knowledge of the investigation who say that the sheriff's department has evidence, don't know if it's video or photo, and that they've also spoken to witnesses who can place Nolan on the island, on Horn Island, after 4:30. So I just don't know how both of those things can be true. If he's still on the island after 4:30, how is he on the boat and they're talking about him being injured or dead on the boat? They just don't add up.
So let me give you a scenario because listening to it, they said we were at I forget what he says, a tip or something of.
He's on the west tip of Horn Island.
West tip of Horn Island. And the guy on the beach is saying they were having boat trouble. So I think they had boat trouble before they left the beach. Like they realized the bilge wasn't working.
Right.
And so I think that they were there. They said they were in 17 feet of water. So 17 feet of water, I'm not sure exactly there. So that's getting away from the beach a little bit. So maybe I'm thinking that they weren't that far away from the beach. And that's when they were yelling at him, not necessarily that he was in the boat, but maybe they left him there and he's like, hey guys, wait for me, and then went in and then something happened. But it doesn't mean that he wasn't. They could be near the beach looking at him, alive or dead.
You can't tell.
Yeah, you can't tell from that. So I don't know, but Charles, I heard, is he dead? Without even the transcript. I heard that, and then there was another thing that I heard. There was one other thing without the transcript that I heard as well.
Nolan?
No, Nolan wasn't so clear to me, I believe. But Charles, can we listen to it with you? Can you listen?
Yeah, please. I'd love to. Yeah.
Close your eyes and then let's everybody listen. All right.
Close your eyes, guys. Can you be covered up? Oh my God.
Hey, we're at the west tip of
So
Horn.
I heard, can you cover it up? Is he dead? Now, I don't know if they're saying Nolan or whatever. I did hear that. I mean, and I don't know if that's confirmation.
Yeah.
What did you guys hear? Let me know. And look, Charles, let me just make this clear. We're speculating here. We're listening. And my question for you is, has this been authenticated or corroborated in any way by any official?
Me too, Sherry.
We have not heard that from the sheriff's department. But to be honest, also the sheriff's department isn't saying a lot about the investigation, that they seem to be very tight-lipped at this point. And I think that's because and maybe it's already convened, but that they're expected to convene a grand jury to conduct further investigation into this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It has not been confirmed by anyone. Everybody is listening to it though and forming their own opinions. And so that's what's out there more than anything, because if the police aren't talking, everybody who's watching this case will be talking, and that's what sets the narrative until you hear anything from the police.
Okay. Go ahead, Daniel, if you have a question.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, I called the sheriff's office 3 times, and then I called the direct line specifically 3 times, so 6 times in total. And the numbers either kept ringing or went to voicemail. Nobody even picked up, which before I left for vacation, they were at least picking up saying, hey, yeah, we'll get back.
Truth Gang, and for this young man right here that's speaking, they're not going to answer. Truth Gang, how many of you guys know that this is the Kendrick Johnson effect? This is the Kendrick Johnson effect being played right before us again, and we just cannot allow that to happen. We're going to go and we're going to watch Tristation's, is that his name, interview with Uncle Opie before we go to the next part of the Don Lemon show, because he's going to bring in a psychologist or a psychiatrist in that's an expert in body language. Now, if you haven't watched the Tristation interview, when we watch it, I want you to pay special attention to his body language, okay? So we're going to finish this up with TMZ's lies.
In a meeting is in a meeting.
And then we'll go.
But I talked to Don in our meeting. I said, Don, have you tried calling? Like, what is this? And Don said, yeah, I mean, they're just not talking. So I probably, to your point, they probably want to wait until the grand jury happens. But, as for the confirmation bias, I brought that up. And I've been one, listen, the people have been coming for me for being a person to say, let's wait for the investigation. Let's hold out. We don't know what happened. And so I feel like for me, if I'm listening to this and I hear Nolan and I hear, is he dead? Again, I just feel like that has to be damning evidence if this is real. Now, again, it's 2026. We all know AI exists. We all know audio needs to be authenticated. If this hasn't been authenticated, then I don't know. And we also, listen, as I said before you hopped on here, Charles, that TMZ, you all have people who are close to this investigation who saw him and believe that there's either video or audio or something, a photo that shows he was alive after they left, which if that's true, then our ears are deceiving us.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is if someone actually did say the name Nolan,
they
on
did.
The boat, if that is true, that goes against every narrative that Warren and any of the other friends have said.
Put a 1 in the chat.
Why would
you
they
heard
be
them say
talking about
Nolan?
Nolan? He said.
Put a 2 in the chat if you did not hear them say Nolan. Put a 1 in the chat if you absolutely will put your life on it that you heard them say Nolan. I'm going to put 1,000 1s in the chat because I heard them say Nolan. Come on, man. Why are you trying to lie? Put a 1 in the chat if you heard the recording say Nolan. Oh my God. The nerve of TMZ trying to play in our face, guys. I'm getting emotional because we're seeing them try to do a Kendrick Johnson rock, and we haven't even got justice for that kid all over again in our face, man. I'm going to keep going, but this is pissing me off.
That once they left the island, they weren't thinking about Nolan anymore because they were dealing with the crisis of the boat. So that would be weird if that what we're hearing is someone saying Nolan. And the part about is he dead I think it's just a theory, don't know because it's not on the boat, but what we're hearing is them saying, is it dead? Meaning the pump. Are you kidding me? Because they couldn't get the motor started for a while.
I am so sorry for yelling in your ear. Is this fool really trying to deflect to a battery? Talk about, is the battery name Nolan? Are you kidding me?
And you heard him describing how the water was coming over. That could be a reference.
I don't know if it was the motor or they couldn't get the bilge pump.
The pump, yeah.
Right. But they also couldn't, there was a part where they couldn't start the motors because there was so much, and that's why that's why they were calling the tow company, because they couldn't start the motors. They were just there taking on water.
Okay. Charles, this is another story. And when you said that would be completely antithetical to anything that you have heard, this is also a TMZ story. Evidence shows he was on island when friend's boat left. And that's the exclusive. Talk to us about this exclusive, Charles, please.
So that's what we were just referring to, the fact that we were told by multiple sources, not connected to law enforcement, who said, well, from what we've heard, the police have spoken to people who put him there after 4:30. And in fact, I think in one of the podcasts with Officer Tatum, Warren said
we don't really mention his name on the show, but go on.
Yeah, I get your point. Warren says he'd heard that there were people who saw Nolan on the island at 6 o'clock. I don't know about the specific of 6 o'clock, but when we were checking what people around town were telling us, and again, someone directly connected to the investigation said to us that that is correct, that we have spoken to people and also seen evidence of Nolan being on the island after 4:30. We did not get the specific of 6 o'clock that Warren mentioned in that interview.
All right, Charles.
Well,
what you
and
think?
Charles,
I know.
But Charles, I'm sure Charles has to run. He's got to do some other shit.
I got time for one more.
You got a little time? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Because the other kind of mystery here is the girlfriend, right? And I know TMZ did some reporting around her because there's some discrepancies there. She's saying, the friends are saying, listen, he was with this alleged girl. She's saying, wait, no, he was on the boat. So what's that all about?
Yeah, that is a huge discrepancy that she told, according to Nolan's mom, she made it sound like, oh, it was just sort of a high and by thing. Yes, I saw him that day, but it was sort of high and by. But what we've heard Warren say is that they were basically hanging out all day together. So that part is weird. I've always said that I think the two main things that we need to get some clarity here. One, the autopsy results. And then also someone or someone's to talk about where they saw Nolan. Obviously, there were so many people there. Somebody saw Nolan after 4:30, and it's sort of like, who's the last person to see him? And the fact that we're not hearing from those people is what is creating this suspicion. That's the main thing that's creating suspicion, because everyone's going, how would people not have seen Nolan Wells amongst a group of partiers, several dozen people, and he's, one of a handful maybe of black people out there? Just doesn't feel, that's the part that makes everybody suspicious, because it feels like at this point they're saying nobody saw anything.
Yeah, and look, we were thinking 4 PM. Like, I was thinking originally, I'm like, okay, well, they didn't see him. The boat pulled away. It was dusk or whatever. But I mean, 4 o'clock, this bright. I mean, it is.
And very bright. The sun's not setting until, almost 8 o'clock. So
8 o'clock. Wow. So Charles, what you think? Look, Charles, Daniel's our correspondent. He's been gone for a week. Yeah. And when he left, this story we thought it was at its height. It keeps growing and growing and growing. I don't understand. Well, I can't understand, because people are filling the void, and I'm wondering why law enforcement is being so tight-lipped, because they could just knock down some of the things that are wrong or something, have a better cadence about providing information. But wow, this is taking on a life of its own.
This is reminding me very much of the Brian Kohberger case, where you had a lot of theories, you had a lot of anger because law enforcement was not being forthcoming. And you had a lot of people saying, well, law enforcement is screwing up this case. I can't believe that they're not going to be able to find the killer. But they were just doing their due diligence, and they were doing their investigation without sharing every step of the way. And what happens in the meantime is the public gets angry. The public starts coming up with their own theories. The public starts listening to audio and maybe hearing things that aren't there, or maybe they are there, but all that's going to happen. And I'd imagine if the sheriff's department is just going, we're not going to respond to any of it. Let's just do our investigation and make sure that, we are buttoned up and that we're not screwing anything up here. You hope that's what's happening. But again, because it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger until the autopsy, either the autopsy results come back or you have more people coming forward and speaking publicly. I don't know this for a fact. I'm just gonna guess here that law enforcement is speaking to people who are on the island, but they're also saying to them, please don't go out and do interviews, because it's only going to make our job harder. Maybe, because I can't believe that nobody saw anything, and for some reason they're not coming forward and talking about it.
It was July 4th weekend. It was, in that aforementioned interview you talked about, his friends, both of them said there were, in their estimate, thousands of people there. So somebody saw something.
Yeah.
Somebody saw something, and look, how long, you guys were on the Matthew Perry case. How long did it take to get that autopsy? I mean, a year?
You know what? They actually, no, it wasn't.
They
It
had
actually
some
wasn't that
preliminary.
long, and they kind of moved that one along quickly. That's the thing. I have seen, and I can't speak to the medical examiner's office in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, but when they need to, I have seen here in LA at least, where they can get results, including toxicology, within a month. But I don't know what's going to happen down in Mississippi. It can happen that quickly, but it can also take as long as 2 months. So it is a painful waiting game, especially for Nolan's family. I mean, obviously there are millions of people around the country who feel very invested in this, but at the heart of it, it's Nolan's family, and they don't have answers. Another week going by and they still don't know.
Yeah, they said, I thought it was a year, but they said the cause to determine the official cause of death for Matthew Perry took nearly 7 weeks. The final results released by Los Angeles County was in December of 2023. I don't even remember when he died, but wow.
Yeah, it was
I'm just using him as the most
November or
recent
sometime.
thing.
Yeah.
All right,
So
Charles.
they can.
Thank you,
so
sir.
we'll see.
Yeah,
All right.
Charles, we appreciate you always joining us. You guys are doing a great job over there of getting information. Look, you got the folks in the comments section all stirred up. They're like, I love Charles, full of shit. I love it. You got
Yep, it's always a mixture of that.
Heavy on the full of shit. Heavy on the full of shit. All right, so let's get into Trustation's interview. Let's watch him. Guys, watch his body language. I want to show you this before we hear from the doctor.
Did you have anything to do with Nolan's death?
No.
Do you have personal knowledge of someone directly in your friend group having anything to do with Nolan's death?
No.
Body language.
So I saw you on television, you had an interview, and I felt like you laid out a few things that I think the world needs to know and be clear about.
Okay.
And the first one is the relationship that you had with Nolan. Can you explain your relationship with Nolan?
Yeah, I will. So his mom got on TV, as everybody has seen, and said that she didn't know me. And man, that can't be farther from the truth. Me and Nolan, I met Nolan in 9th grade in a second block class. It was math. He was one of the first guys I made friends with. It was somebody I made a connection to, like off rip. He was an athlete. I could tell he was an athlete. When I walked into class, we sat really close to each other. And all he turned around and asked me for a pencil when I first met him in 9th grade when I moved to Ocean Springs, man. It was tough, and the relationship there has always been a best friend in my eyes. I never wanted to take away how close somebody else was with Nolan, but Nolan was my best friend. That was a guy I knew I could call at any point in time. He called me at 11 o'clock on the 4th to see where I was parked at. Man, me and Nolan have countless nights of him giving me advice on my girlfriend, on my life in general. Nolan has been the only friend, and I love my friends and my best friends in this group of guys, but Nolan has been the only person that ever tell me, like, he's proud of what I've done. He's proud of how hard I worked. He's proud of me going overseas to go play ball. That was my guy. Like, that was my best friend.
Yeah, and so how does it make you feel when the media, activists are coming out and alluding to the fact that you may have something to do with what happened to Nolan on that day?
Man, that hurts. It hurts is an understatement. I beat myself up every night I lay down. Beat myself up anytime it crosses my mind. Because in my head, if I wasn't drinking, if I didn't get into that altercation, maybe I would be able to do something. Maybe I would have saw something. Maybe I would have told Nolan, hey, man, you're not going with that girl. Just come back with us. We're going back a little bit later. We can go meet up with the guys later. Maybe it just plays out different. And then the fact that they're going to play that is I'm already trying to mourn my friend's death as is, and I'm blaming myself for it. to put that in my head is a next level of hurt that can't be truly explained. Because man, it's hard to put into words. Generally, it's backstabbing from a sense of a community that I thought I had with my skin color, and they stay so strong together, and I'm supposed to be one of them, but I come up and I speak, and now I'm the person to blame. Now I'm not dark enough for them. I'm not black enough for them, and now I'm the issue. It doesn't
First
make
of all,
sense.
stop it, because I'm lighter than your ass, okay? I'm lighter than your ass, and they know I'm black, just as black as them. So you over here playing colorism games is not going to negate the fact that you're on this show lying with your arms folded, which proves you're lying.
In my head, it doesn't make sense.
Was Nolan, I mean, obviously you were in a friend group, but the way the media makes it seem is that almost as if Nolan was the only black person in this whole friend group. Now they don't even mention you. They don't bring you up in this whole thing when it comes to what happened at Horn Island. So what's your take on Nolan being presented as like the only black kid in a group of all these white boys?
That's crazy, man. I know we've spoken a little bit, but that friend group that I'm a part of to this day was the first friend group I was in when I moved to Ocean Springs as a new kid coming in. I never knew any of them. I known one kind of, sort of, back from grade school because we went to the same private school together. But that was it. And him being the only black person, minority, any of that measure is insane. Our friend group is diverse from the max. Like, we have a mixed guy. I mean, we had Nolan in our friend group. There's an Asian a part of our friend group. There's a Latino that they're trying to perceive as white. He's truly authentic Mexican. His parents are from Mexico. They came over legally and they did everything right, and he's been here since. It blows my mind because our friend group is not a friend group that sees race.
Yes, the hell y'all
Our friend group sees what good you do for other people, what good you bring, and how the type of person you truly are and where your morals lie. That's one thing in common. Me and my friends might not agree on everything, but our morals align. Our morals
really?
know. So for them to even make that narrative up really shows you have no idea.
Guys, there's 500 people in the building. Can I please get at least half of you to hit the like button, please? Thank you.
What it's like down here on the coast. You have no idea how tight-knit Ocean Springs as a community is. You don't understand it. You don't see the thousands of kids in the high school football stands cheering their team on. Nobody cares what color you are. We're there to have fun and to just live. And that's how Nolan lived. That's how I live now. I'm grown up and I have more big boy stuff, but in high school, all I cared about was going to hang out with my guys. And I mean, on a personal level that leads off of it, is like, it got me in trouble with my girlfriend just because I wanted to be with the guys. I never once thought, man, they look at me different. Man, I'm kind of an outcast to them. No. All their moms have always welcomed me with open arms. Anytime I needed anything, I knew I could call them and their parents, and they would do anything in the world for me. So with Crump pushing this narrative, it's wrong.
Yeah,
it's completely wrong, especially about our friend group.
Yeah, I find it, especially after talking to you, meeting some of the guys, that it seems like there was an agenda. But can you walk us through just your perspective from that day? I don't know if did you go with them initially? Were you a part of the group that went to Horn Island?
So I wasn't, clear that up. No, I was not on the boat with them. Yes, I was a part of the group that was supposed to go out. So the only reason why I did not go on the boat is I was offered, I got begged to go, but my uncle, we also took 12 people out on our boat, not including us two, so 14. And my uncle knows the passengers wouldn't have helped. Generally wouldn't have helped with anything. With that many people on a boat, you need a little bit of help. So my uncle was like, hey, can you just ride out with me and you can go do your thing throughout the day on the island? I don't care. I don't need you. I just need help to get out there and then pick everything up. Because I know all these people are going to be drunk and they're not going to want to do the extras that nobody sees about going out on the boat, right? And so I told Wyatt that, and oops, my bad. But I told him, I told him that, and I told him everything, which was go to plan. We were leaving a little bit earlier than them. I was gonna try to have a spot saved out, and Nolan calls me at 11 o'clock. I missed his phone call. Called me twice. I missed both of them. I saw Wyatt and Nolan on the boat. They pulled right in front of our boat, and they were screaming. I turned my head and I was like, yo, there's a spot over there, where they end up anchoring out. I helped them set their stern anchor. From the time they showed up until now, going back to it, 20 minutes before they left, I was with them. That's who I was with. I spent all day with them, minus the morning time before they got out there. But from the time they got out there to the time they went back in, I was with them. Those are my friends, man. Those are my guys.
Yeah, I want to get a few more details. I know that. Yeah, go ahead. I know that you were all over the news because there was a perceived fight. People, this is the thing that gets me, and I want to you clarify this. When I saw the video that they put out on the internet claiming that Nolan was saying, give me my effing phone back, the coach came out, Nolan's coach came out and said immediately he knew it wasn't Nolan's voice. And obviously it wasn't Nolan's voice because you were the one that was
me yelling,
in there yelling. You got into an altercation with somebody. What happened after that? Like, put me in your place where the fight is over, whatever happened. Nolan is somewhere, you're somewhere, you're hanging out. And when was the last time that you saw Nolan before you left Horn Island?
So after the fight, I didn't stay on Horn Island much longer. So the objective, I was really upset. So with you hearing me yelling, my uncle had told me to get on the boat and wouldn't let me back off the boat. Obviously, I was really mad and I wanted to fight, wanted to get off. What wasn't smart, man. And so I was on the boat, I'm yelling. And shortly after that, I left the island. I left probably 30 to 45 minutes after I got into a fight. We started to pack up and left because I was so upset. As Javon mentions, that they were ready to get me back to land because I was really mad. I was genuinely really mad. But the last time I saw Nolan, I was walking to the boat. This was before the fight. It's me and my old lady. We had just got out of a group of people. Nolan was walking towards Wyatt's boat. I was walking in the opposite direction towards my boat. And I dabbed Nolan up. I made a slick
All right, guys. I lost power. I'm back. I do apologize. I'm not sure if you are able to hear me. I really hope so. So let me get this back on the internet. We have a big storm going on. And I do apologize for the inconvenience. So let me put it back up. Oh my God. I'm just glad that it came back up. Again, guys, I am so sorry. Wow.
45 minutes after I got into a fight, we started to pack up and left because I was so upset. As Javon mentions, that they were ready to get me back to land because I wasn't really mad. I was genuinely really mad. But the last time I saw Nolan, I was walking to the boat. This was before the fight. It's me and my old lady. We had just got out of a group of people. Nolan was walking towards Wyatt's boat. I was walking in the opposite direction towards my boat. And I dabbed Nolan up. I made a slick comment about something, actually about the girl that he was with. I made a slick comment to him, us joking around, and I kept going. And not even 10 minutes after that is when I got into a fight. Last thing I told Nolan was, all right, buddy, I love you. See you later. And I'm glad I said it. I had been under the influence a little bit, and that's probably why I did say it at the time, just, getting all lovey-dovey, but I'm at peace. I said it. I'm glad I said it. That was my last encounter with Nolan. Just telling him I love him.
Did you have any, so you leave the island, did you have any encounters or association with these phones, with the keys? Did you have any connection to any of that?
I did not. So what I know, I got my first phone call from Warren at about 9:20. I didn't answer it. I was asleep. I'd been on the boat all day. I didn't feel like going to party anymore. I went to bed. So I got my first phone call about 9:20. And I didn't wake up again until a little after 11 o'clock. And that was to my brother coming in the room being like, hey, Warren's trying to get a hold of you. You need to answer the phone. They're looking for Nolan. And I'm half awake and I pick up the phone. And by this time, nobody had came to the house to grab anything. And Warren gets on the phone and he's just like, hey man, he was like, hey, have you talked to Nolan? Anything else? I was like, no, I haven't talked to him, man. He was with that girl last time I knew. And he was like, okay. He was like, man, we can't get a hold of him. We don't know where he's at. And I was like, man, it's Nolan. He's probably just out somewhere with that girl. Like, get a hold of the girl, you'll probably find Nolan. It's no big deal. And he was like, all right. He was like, but we're starting to freak out. We're getting on the phone with Coast Guard. I was like, okay. And at that time, he had already talked to his mom, Nolan's mom. And he was getting on the phone with the Coast Guard. And I need to be specific about this. I did not call Warren's phone. I called another one of our buddies' phone, and it was on speakerphone. They were all together. I was talking on my other buddy's phone, talking to Warren. He was dialing Coast Guard because he hung up the phone and was like, hey, this is him, bye, and hung up the phone. And that was the last time I talked to him until the next morning when we all decided, when I woke up about 7 o'clock that morning, we had all decided that we were going to go out on the boat and go look for Nolan. Wyatt had already had his boat still in the water. We took that boat out. It was
what day are we talking?
That's Sunday morning.
Sunday morning on the 5th. The 5th?
So it was Saturday the 4th was the 4th of July. Mm-hmm. The 5th was Sunday. We were on the water from 9:45 to 11:50, 12 o'clock era, about lunchtime. Mm. While we were on the water, we talked to a rescue guy, and he told us to get off the water and said that they kind of had the island and the water under control. That's the professionals, man.
Yeah.
They told us to get on social media and find out any information we can. And by that time, we had already talk to a good amount of people out there. So it just made sense. So we went back in and we concluded our search and started the search off socials and started sharing everything we could and try to get a hold of anybody that could have talked to Nolan, that Nolan possibly would have reached out to. And that led into the night. It led all night long. I didn't sleep at all Sunday. Monday, I was up at 5 a.m. I was putting fuel in our boat at 6. I got told that we were taking out another boat to Chandelier at 7. So I put my boat back on the lift, and I went to McDonald's, and then I got the news after I left McDonald's that his body was found. So it was already a plan that we were going and searching and trying to do everything we possibly can. And that's all I wanted to do. Is I wasn't there to help him out in his last minutes, but now I feel like as a friend and as one of my guys, man, I do everything in my power to help now. And that's why I have reached out to the family. I have donated to the family, and I have giving them just your normal death gifts, I would say, as you pay your respects.
What is normal death gifts? I don't know what that is.
Do you think Benjamin Crump being involved in this case made it better or worse?
100,000 times % worse. Because why on the Tuesday after where has your civil rights been broken? Where has it been shown? You brought Benjamin Crump to stir up a community that's already tight-knit. Yeah, we might not be best friends with everybody, but I promise, if you're talking about Ocean Springs as a whole, Ocean Springs is going to have Ocean Springs back 110%. We back each other. Everybody I've seen, we back each other. And for them to push this narrative and really push it just shows me is like, you have no idea who you're dealing with.
Guys, did we get to the part, and I apologize that that I lost power, but did we get to the part where he said that his uncle wanted him to ride with him because he knew that other people were going to be drinking, and then he proceeded to say that he was also drinking and drunk? Did we get to that part yet? That's diabolical as well.
Or who you're messing with. And I think he's taking the grieving parents and manipulating and turning this and making it sound all bad, because nothing's like that at all. No.
Have you gotten death threats? Or, because I know that the other young men that I spoke to about this, especially the white young men, they're getting all kind of death threats. They're being accused of killing Nolan. Did you get the same backlash and threats that some of those guys have gotten?
Yes, I've gotten the death threats per se, but I've also gotten the threats along the lines of where it's like I've been cast out of the Black community. I've been called white. I've been called a wetback. All these things. I've been sent photos of me and my grandmother, and they've been told that she's the devil. She's just looking for the time to kill you. You need to be careful and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, man, if y'all want to know the story, the only people that showed up for me in my whole life has been my white side of my family. So for y'all to sit there and drag their
Here's
name
the racism.
drag me down, and I'm supposed to be one of y'all, and you're supposed to have my back, and we're supposed to be in this together. And it's really eye-opening.
Did it shock you that it turned this way? Meaning that, you see everything happen. Nolan was your friend. From all the young men I talked to, it seemed like Nolan was the life of the party. Everybody loved Nolan. He gets along with everybody. Everybody's cool. And everybody feels like Nolan made them feel like everybody's his best friend, right? I mean, everybody felt connected to Nolan. Were you shocked that it turned like this? I mean, where this community was tight-knit, Nolan's friend group was tight. He he ends up losing his life in an unfortunate situation, which nobody knows exactly what happened. Did it shock you that it turned into some racial thing?
Yes, racial, I do agree. Now, it going famous or going viral, that part didn't shock me. Thinking about it and being honest, like, that's not a surprise because everybody didn't love Nolan. Especially around here, everybody loved Nolan. So for people to repost that, they know Nolan. I mean, they know he did not have one hateful thing in his heart. And racism, no. That was a shock. That was a complete shock from his mom and from his stepdad. Like, that's a shock. That's an utter shock.
Did you guys hear him call Elmore Nolan's stepdad? What does he mean? Because I've never heard anyone say that Nolan was Elmore's stepdad. Did you guys hear that? Let's rewind that. Because I heard that Nolan carried the names of the Wells to keep it going. Nolan is a descendant or a family member of Ida B. Wells. So I heard that Nolan carried the name of the Wells. I never heard that Elmore was his stepdad. Let's keep going. We need to research that, guys. And even if he was, so the fuck what?
So for people to repost that, they know Nolan. I mean, they know he did not have one hateful thing in his heart. And racism, no. That was a shock. That was a complete shock from his mom and from his stepdad. Like, that's a shock. That's an utter shock because it's like, first off, I don't know how to word this. Nolan wasn't fully black. Nolan's mixed. Nolan has a little bit of Asian.
Can I say something real quick? I want you guys to look at me. I'm also not fully black, but on my birth certificate it says African American. Why? Because I do have African American in my blood, and once you have African American in your blood, you are considered black. So I don't give a shit about what he's about to talk about. I'm really pissed off about the shit that he's talking about because he ain't talking about shit. If that makes sense. Let's keep going.
Asian in him. You don't hear that though. You don't. So to turn it as like somebody's harping down on Nolan because of the color of his skin, you don't know us. You don't know our community. It's crazy that people
He's
are
the
just
only
running with the
one
lie.
talking about the color of
And it's
skin.
so easy for people to believe it from the outside, looking into
Denise.
Mississippi's history per se. But it's like, you're looking at history. Let's go to each state's history. I bet they're not the best with black people. Like, people change. You learn history so you don't repeat it. Everybody knows that.
What's the craziest lie that you've seen floating around there about this situation? I know there's a lot of mysterious things, but like, what to you, what's the craziest thing that you've heard somebody say about this?
That my buddy in the photo was his lover. That was wild. That's been the utmost craziest because it's like, what? Like, where'd you get that from?
Yeah.
I mean, also the lies of just how racist Mississippi is, or how racist the coast is, and Ocean Springs, and no, you don't know this, man. Like, you have no idea. And what I thought was crazy lie from the beginning was he's the only black person on the boat. He's the only black person on the island. No, not at all. Like, not once. Like, where'd you get this background information from?
How many people are on that island from your vantage point?
On the 4th of July?
Yeah.
Thousands? 13 miles? Like, I mean, you're talking hundreds and hundreds of boats. that are carrying minimum 4 to 8, 9 people. Like I'm talking like on the lower end, and we're talking about smaller vessels here. Man, if I had to take a rough estimate in my area of the island that I was in, 400, 500 people easy. If I'm taking an actual estimate, about 400 to 500 people easy. In our group, in the group of, I would say, young adults that were in the group of Nolan Wells, 100, 150, 200 people.
So the idea that Nolan went out with 4 white boys and they took him to a deserted island and he was allegedly last seen with a girl and they just abandoned him. What do you say to that?
No. From the time they left, including myself, and also when I left the island, I could have named 50 people I really trust behind the helm of a boat that Nolan knew, that he could go talk to. Even if he was left, there was tons and tons of people out there. There was 10 boats that camped out at Horn Island. I know a boat that didn't leave Horn Island until 8 o'clock that night. Nobody would have ever seen, nobody would have ever left somebody on Horn Island. That's a place of everybody loves to go and hang out. That's their peace. Nobody wants to see anybody out there, especially in the boating community. And I can speak on that, like genuinely. I grew up in it. That's absurd. It's absurd.
So can you help me understand the fight a little better? Because I interviewed Warren, who's your friend, and he had made mention that his brother was involved in the fight. So can you explain who actually started fighting, and were you fighting his brother or were you fighting somebody else? Like how did that happen?
Yeah, and I can see now, especially it's all been blown out of proportion. But so originally, I'll go back a couple steps. Original, me and my girlfriend, I wouldn't even call it an argument. She was upset that I lost the lid to her koozie. I dropped it in the water. Generally speaking, that's how it started. And I dropped her new koozie in the water. And so she started to let me hear it and basically told me I was paying for it. And she was really upset with me and mad about it. And I needed to kind of sober her up a little bit. And so we're walking back. And during that time, this guy that I'm not friends with, I know of him. I don't know him. I didn't even recognize him when I got in an original fight. He butted himself into my conversation and basically was telling me how I needed to handle or address the situation with my girlfriend. And man, we weren't even yelling at each other. We weren't arguing. It was more along the lines of, I literally told her, I was like, man, I just want a beer. And she was like, well, go get one, blah, blah, blah. Well, when I said that, she had ducked her head underwater and he had walked up and he told me that I needed to watch how I talked to my girlfriend. And I looked at him and I told him, I was like, this has nothing to do with you. We're good. This has nothing to do with you. And he sat there and he was like, well, I'm going to tell you, I better not hear it again. And I looked at him and I was like, you need to excuse yourself from the situation. And after I came out, he swung. He threw the first punch. And we went back and forth. I remember at one point in time, I look over and I see my uncle, and my uncle's yelling at me to get in the boat. I stopped fighting. As soon as me and him made eye contact, I got in the boat, I'm sorry. And I listened to my uncle.
And what was Warren's brother involvement in this?
And so I was getting there. So when I'm on the boat and they're trying to cool me down, I'm trying to get back off the boat. So I see the crowd forming up on the island. Well, my little brother and Carter are like really good friends, like best friends, I would say. He's over at our house all the time. Carter heard him still talking crap as he's getting out of the water and I'm on the boat and the situation is like done and over with, right? Well, he sees him talking crap, so Carter gets up and more along the lines of defending me. And for what? He was like, well, if you got a problem with Tristan, we can handle it right here.
So what's the racial breakup of these people that are involved? So the guy that you fought was
white.
White.
I'm the only black guy involved in this whole entire thing.
Yeah.
And at all. Like, I mean, I don't know. Carter is white. The dude I got in a fight with is white.
Mm-hmm.
I was the only black guy involved with this. My girlfriend's white. My uncle's white. There was no other black guy involved. And I know Ben Crump tried to run with a story saying I was Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was like, nice try. But there was another black guy on the island, so now your whole narrative needs to change again.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, but that was Carter's involvement, and that was kind of it. Like, after the fight, man, I remember getting off the boat. I got off the boat, and I walked up to the island, and I was telling people, I was like, hey, like, I just need to cool off. Like, let me be. This is after everything is dispersed. There was no crowd anymore when I walked off the boat. And I was like, let me be. Well, again, my uncle yelled at me, and I was like, I don't care what you're doing. Get back on the boat. We're leaving. So I got back on the boat, and we left shortly after that.
Mm. Well, at least I know you from the interviews that you've done. Some of the other boys haven't spoken out at all.
Yeah.
You've had a chance to use your voice to put the truth out there. You did an interview with, I think, ABC. And you also did an interview with the Rolling Stones.
That was my first interview, yeah, with Rolling Stone.
The first interview was Rolling Stones, then ABC?
And then ABC, yes.
Now, from what you told me before this interview is that the Rolling Stones gave you a very fair interview. It seemed like the young lady who interviewed you articulated very clearly what you told her with no fluff, no nothing added.
And she cared. She really did care. And she made sure that what she was telling was the complete truth behind everything with me, with my uncle, and then also fact checking on her side as being in media. And it all aligned, man. And when they came out with that, it was really genuine. When I felt that, it brought me to tears because it was like, that's the truth. That's exactly how it needed to be worded. And I appreciated her. I appreciated her a lot. And we took her out to One Island this morning to do another little bit. But she's done well, and that's the truth. Her story is nothing but the truth.
Now, ABC, on the other hand, did they treat you fairly, or how did they go?
So, I don't want to say they treated me unfairly. The quotes that he used in the article, he did ask me for my permission on it. And I gave it to him to an extent. I changed up some stuff and that he initially didn't change when he came out with it. And then the voice recording, that's really what gets me, because that's what the main people are listening to, right? They're not going in and reading in depth in the article and really seeing everything. They're just going off of, well, what's on TV, because people don't like to read these days. But how they made that and cut a lot of my voice sounded horrible. Sounded bad. I didn't like it. I didn't like that side of it, but it already aired, so what was I gonna do? Really?
And at one point, I could have sworn you said that you didn't feel comfortable doing the interview on camera.
Yes.
And did you do that because you didn't want to be visibly promoted on television, or what? How did that?
So the side of that, and I didn't want to be on camera for two main reasons. I never wanted to do an interview and get famous. I never wanted any attention, per se, famous attention. I don't care about the negative side of it. I'm doing what I think is right. I never wanted any positive attention, let's say. All I wanted to be is for my guys to know that I had their back and I got Nolan's back. And I didn't want the investigation especially on social media side, I guess, and with Ben Crump and their legal team, to go down the wrong path at all. That was my sole purpose, is to tell the truth and to clear up lies. when I talked to ABC, they wanted to do an in-person interview, and I told them no. I told them no because I'm getting death threats, and I don't like them. It is what it is. I'm not putting myself out there any more than I need to, and I'm not sitting behind a camera and so for somebody to watch me talk about my best friend. And I told him, I was like, if you want to do an article, it's okay. I'll talk and you can do the article on that side of it. I never originally wanted to go on TV, period. He convinced me into only using my voice, which now I regret, and I wish I would have just sat in front of a camera so you can visibly see the cuts. But they manipulated that interview pretty well. They made it sound a lot worse. And I know for a fact, most of that interview, you can't understand me because I was in tears the entire time talking about it. When he asked me about Nolan's death, and he put it if you listen to it carefully, he cuts it and I just say die. Nobody wants to see him die. I don't talk like that, man. It's not what I said. I did say died during at one point in our interview, but I said we didn't want to see his life being taken from us, period. They didn't put that. They twisted some things around and they almost made a different narrative to where it's like, now people are coming out and lying. And it's like, man, no.
Yeah,
and
I was wondering if you were gonna, I remember I was like, I could have sworn he said he didn't want to be on camera and they put your picture all over the news. I mean, how did you feel about that? Was that something that you were okay with them doing it, or?
I kind of accepted it. I accepted it because I gave Rolling Stone permission to do it. So I know that's where they probably got that original photo of me and him standing next to each other.
But still, that's kind of weird that you tell them, oh, I don't want to, even if you gave you the permission of Rolling Stones, you go, I don't want to be on camera. And they put your picture up there on camera anyway.
I agree. It is weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's odd, but generally speaking, man, like, I'm worried about my family's safety, but I have no regrets in what I've done and what I've said. Not one. I sleep better at night now that I've spoken up, and I felt like I've done my part of the good, and I'm willing to help any other time if anything else pops up that I can't help with. And I genuinely just want the truth to be heard about it all, and it kills me and it breaks my heart that my best friends are going through this. Like, this is at home. This isn't something I'm just watching through a screen, listening to you talk about it or listening to somebody else talk about it. I'm living this. I'm getting the calls from my buddies crying, asking me how I'm not scared out of my mind. How am I okay dealing with all this?
So one thing that kind of stood out to me, there was a big contradiction on television, was you said in your interview that you were really, really good friends with Nolan, his best friend. Nolan's mother said on television that as if she don't even know you and she don't know who you are, and you're definitely not, at least is what she alluded to, you're definitely not his best friend. So what's the truth in that? And how did that affect you? How did that make you feel?
So she originally touched and she said that we weren't childhood best friends. And she's not wrong. She's not wrong. I moved to Ocean Springs in 9th grade. I met Nolan in 9th grade, as I've stated in my Rolling Stone interview. Nolan was my best friend though. She can believe it or not, that was my best friend. No, me and her never had a sit down in-depth conversation like me and you're having now. It was always, hey, how are you doing? I've been to her house multiple times. I've taken Nolan to school multiple times. I've left my vehicle at her house multiple times, even including the new vehicle I just got has gotten left at her house for 2 days. And I just got it. I haven't even had it for 4 months. My vehicle before that stayed at her house for almost a week. Me and her son went on trips together. We went to Florida for spring break together. You don't know me? I'm in all these homecoming and prom photos as our whole friend group. Me and Nolan are standing next to each other. You don't know me. Nolan's last name is Wells. My last name at one point in time was Walker. We were by each other in the alphabet when we graduated. Man, that's mind-boggling. It's insane. Me and Nolan have multiple classes together. Me and Nolan has always stayed tight. Nolan has always known that he could call me whatever. And like I've mentioned, like I got a new phone number 2 months ago. Nolan was the only friend that had my phone number out of the friend group, and I still call them my best friends. But we communicate on other social medias. But it's like Nolan called me on the day to meet up with me on the 4th out there. But we weren't good friends. We weren't close friends. And when I say best friend, man, I don't want to take away anybody how close they were to Nolan. But when I think of a best friend, I think of Nolan. Somebody I can call, somebody that I've stayed up and I've cried to. That was one of my best friends, genuinely speaking. She might not think it. That's okay. Me and Nolan knows where we stand with each other. And period. And Nolan knows that.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. You know, with interviewing with me, right? You know, we came out here to Mississippi. We just want to give the boys a voice, give you guys a voice. And out of, I'd say, all the other outlets that you could have spoken to, why do you feel that you wanted to talk to me tonight?
Honestly, I'm a big fan. I know when I look at news articles, big news articles, obviously, and then I know you talk on them, I make sure I watch the full thread of videos. I think our morals align alike. And when we spoke off camera, like, it didn't seem like you were out here like another news reporter that just wanted the next big story. Like you just said, it's like you genuinely wanted us to have a platform to be able to speak and to be able to tell the truth. And that's what I like. And I know, I don't know, talking to Warren and knowing Miss Katie and being close to them and them trusting you was like, okay, I can sit down, I can have this conversation.
Did you guys hear that? Being close to Warren and Miss Katie? Did you guys hear that? Because in the beginning, they distanced themselves from Katie, act like they didn't know who Katie was. But did you guys hear when he said being close to Warren and Miss Katie? Yeah. Okay. Let's back it up a little bit before we end it.
I watched the full thread of videos. I think our morals align alike. And when we spoke off camera, like, it didn't seem like you were out here like another news reporter that just wanted the next big story. Like you just said, it's like you genuinely wanted us to have a platform to be able to speak and to be able to tell the truth. And that's what I like. And I know, I don't know, talking to Warren and knowing Miss Katie and being close to them and them trusting you was like, okay, I can sit down, I can have this conversation, and we can go through it, and we can have the interview on camera, and people can see me, really, I guess you could say, and talk about it and whatnot.
I appreciate that. I really do. And my last question, you know, with all this stuff going on, and you knew Nolan very well, what do you think how Nolan would feel about how this all has transpired with Benjamin Crump, with, you know, the statements from his mom, with the accusations against you and his other friends? You know, how would you think he would address this or feel about this?
Well, I know people like to use a term, they would turn over in his grave. If Nolan could dig himself out of his grave right now, he would. No doubt. Nolan would be livid is an understatement. Nolan would never want anything pursued this way at all. I think he would be really upset with his parents about how they went about the situation. I think he genuinely would. I don't think he wouldn't support it. I know that for 110%. I know he wouldn't support any of it. I think he would want the truth and he would search for answers, but he wouldn't go about it like this. he wouldn't let us get dogged out like this. If no one could have spoke up, he would have already said something about our friend group and saying, yo, y'all are on the wrong path. Generally speaking, he would be mad. Like, he would be mad. And I don't understand how people don't see that and how people are just okay with even some of his, I guess you could say, other best friends, man, how they were coming out and how they're acting behind it. It's like, man, Nolan was never like that. Nolan was an aggressive, threatening person. Don't get me wrong, Nolan would defend himself if he needed to defend himself. Nolan was loving and kind. Nolan was the furthest thing from a fight. Like, furthest thing from a fight. And I remember personally, I was in a heated argument and Nolan comes up, crack a joke, and I'm like, bro, it's not even worth it. Like, come on. And it's like, that just shows his character wouldn't be like this. I know he wouldn't want people chanting at his funeral. I know that for a fact. I know nobody would want me or the rest of our friends to get dragged through like this. I know he would want all of us to feel comfortable going to that funeral, and all of us didn't because we're scared. And that says a lot. That says a lot. We're scared to go in our own town to who we called our best friend. We're all over his socials, man. Like, I don't know how you're discrediting and thinking that we could have hurt him. We could have known somebody that hurt him. Because like I told everybody, I would put myself in whatever position he was in 100 times before I let him pass away. And I mean that. I genuinely mean that. That dude, he was so loving and so kind. It was just wild. It's crazy. It's wild and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you having the courage, man, to come down here and talk to us, give us, your point of view. And I say this, like I said to Warren, man, my whole objective is that, man, I was watching an injustice happen before my eyes. And an injustice meaning that the other side wasn't presented. And people that don't live here came into this town and shook it up, brought racism in it. And based on everybody's statement that I hear about Nolan, is that they didn't represent what he stood for.
No.
And they bastardized his character, in my opinion, this is my opinion, to make money and build a GoFundMe instead of trying to actually get to the bottom of what happened to him. And none of this have I seen any of the activists pursue what actually happened. Somebody could have seen something, and instead they're going after dead ends simply because of race, simply because of convenience, instead of pursuing any other lead or any other notion of somebody knowing what happened to Nolan. So I thank you for coming out here, man. It took a lot of courage, putting your face out there, putting your name out there, putting the statements out there. Some people are gonna be mad at you, but I'll tell you, like I told Warren and all the other boys, is that I got your back, man. You tell them the truth. I appreciate that. You being a good man, doing what's right. I got your back, man. And I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
What do you guys think? I think he's a liar. I'm just going to call it. I think he's a liar. And I think that he's not telling the truth at all. And we're almost over with this. This is almost over. And we'll meet tomorrow. He's definitely a liar. So, with that being said,
check, because
no, that's not what I want to look at. I wanted to look at the rest of Don Lemon's interview, and I wanted you to see. Let me find it. And then we're gonna end for tonight. But
and some of the things that they're saying and some of the details. I mean, some of these things.
This
And
is
she's
a
right. But you don't have
psychiatrist.
to do that if you're responding by responding.
And then we're in for
Exactly. You can just say, you don't even have to hold a press conference to put up a social media post. I mean, I've been following the Cajun Navy. They have been
He's
posting,
a liar,
I mean, pretty much
Steve, and
every
you can
day
get off
about
my
different
damn
things.
page.
So you don't have to
He's a
hold a press
liar.
conference to just put out a post to say, hey, we acknowledge this is going around social media right now, and we want to just quell any rumors, any non-truths. This isn't
Watched a ton of footage.
This isn't a real video. That said, obviously, we're seeing
From Elliot Daniels' assessment of it.
Yeah, we have, I think, 2 other.
This is
videos
a
from
psychiatrist.
All right, let's see it. Let's hear it.
Here's one.
Over the past several days, I've watched a ton of footage related to Nolan Wells' friends being interviewed. 2 of them have now done interviews, or at least the interviews have been released. And there is one red flag that stands out to me above all else. The single most concerning red flag for me as a practicing clinician who's been working with clients for over 20 years and has sat with lots and lots of people. There's one thing that they are doing, or actually not doing and not saying, that is alarming to me. But before I explain what it is, I do want to say, I am not saying that these boys are guilty of committing a crime. I don't know what happened that day. And I can't say for sure that they did or did anything or played any role in Nolan Wells' death. But what I will say is some of the information that is coming out as they do these interviews, and some of the things that they're saying, and some of the details. I mean, some of these things are very suspicious and should be investigated. Now, the biggest red flag that I've noticed, not just in these interviews, but in the entire series of events that have taken place since Nolan Wells was missing, is the absence of curiosity, both in their language in these interviews and in their conduct since Nolan Wells' body went missing. And let me explain what I mean. If you were going on an island, on a trip with your 3 best friends, among them was Nolan Wells, who 2 of you are now described as best friend and or brother. These are terms of extreme closeness. So here we are, a group of 4 people. We're best friends and brothers. And one of them decides to stay on the island, and then you never see him again. Now, if we believe what these boys are saying, they don't know what happened to him. The last time they saw him was when he decided to stay on that island, and they haven't seen or heard from him since. If we believe that that's true, then what we know is, then the boys don't know what happened either. And they should be experiencing curiosity. They should be thinking, we're just as concerned, confused, and desirous of hearing the truth as everybody else. And they should be taking actions that look like that. Going back to the island and see if they could retrace steps and see if there's maybe a detail that they missed. They should be looking at the videos and try to see, do we recognize anybody in these videos that we could tell to police, here are some people you guys might not be noticing, because we knew lots of people. According to one of them, they knew 30 people that were on the island, and I haven't seen anywhere where they were helping the police or looking at the video footage or the pictures from that day saying, here's what's happening. They should be returning to the island and helping look for footprints, anything that would tell them this might be what happened. Now, they've gone back to the island. At least one of the interviews took place on the island, but it was more to defend themselves and to explain how they don't know anything. But there was no language whatsoever and no actions whatsoever that are associated with curiosity. And in those interviews, not one time, and I watched everything I could get my hands on, I didn't hear one person say, man, I wish I could figure out what happened. I can't even sleep. All I'm thinking about is replaying the events of that day, trying to figure out what happened. I wish I could get the details, and I wish I could let the mom and dad know what happened. They're not using that kind of language. And that is extraordinarily concerning. The only thing that removes curiosity is certainty. Okay? So somebody knows something because they must have certainty about something, or else they would be experiencing curiosity, as I've been explaining. Now, certainty is very, very important. Now, again, I am not saying that they did anything, but what I am saying is someone in that circle very likely knows more than they're saying, because that's the certainty that is removing the curiosity. This is by far, in my opinion, the largest red flag amongst all the things that I have noticed. And if I were doing the investigation, if I were interviewing these kids, I would hone in on exactly why they're not experiencing curiosity. It's alarming to me that the person doing the interview did not push on anything, but I would be saying, how come I'm not seeing this? And how come you're not saying that? And how come you're not experiencing these things? Because for an experienced person interviewing people, that would be something that would be standing out to me for sure.
I mean,
well, on that last
he's
point,
the
Doc,
professional.
we know why that interviewer didn't push back or ask more pointed questions like that. Well,
Yeah,
we can start there. We know the vantage point that the man who's conducting these interviews comes from. But as for these kids, let me just say, I'll say multiple things. First, listen, nobody expects to be thrust into a situation like this, right? And so you and I have media training. I mean, we have years of experience in this industry. So we may be more equipped to respond if we find ourselves in a situation like this and understanding the optics. These are young kids in Mississippi who never expected to find themselves in this situation. So I think to dissect every little thing about their actions and what they're doing or not doing, I don't know that that's fully fair because, you know, we don't know how someone's going to react with grief. We have seen the scale. I mean, you know, I'll just talk personally. When I lost my own mother, I had questions about, oh, you're not crying as much. And I thought, well, I am. I'm just doing it kind of behind closed doors. My sister decided to do it more in front of the cameras and in front of people. So it's like people grieve in different ways. Now, that said, I have questions. And I think my biggest questions are, I agree with him in terms of the curiosity. You are going to be asking more questions if you don't have knowledge of anything. And again, I don't think these kids, I've said it, I don't know. We don't know. I don't personally think these kids did anything, but I do think there's the chance that they know something because they were around him. It was a crowded island, but you have to know. I mean, someone who was there knows something. It's July 4th weekend. This is not some random weekend in October where no one's really there and, you know, there's the chance you're not going to see him. This was a crowded island. So someone knows something, and whether or not they've talked to authorities, we don't know. But I just think, you know, and again, as he kind of said, that the other big point there is that I'm not saying they did anything. I just think they have to know something.
Look, I don't know. When you said you don't think, I look, at this point, I don't know anymore. You know, I'm willing to give anybody the benefit of the doubt, but I just don't know anymore. And I just don't. The more I hear from them, the more I'm like, I don't know.
What are your thoughts about what I said earlier about this potential third option that seemingly no one's talking about? It is Mississippi. There could be a random adult, stranger, someone who didn't know Nolan who did something to him.
That could be any number of, you know, explanations. There could be any number of explanations, but you've heard of Occam's razor, right? Yeah. And so, which is the most obvious explanation or story is usually the one. Now, I do think that it's young people. It's obvious. You could hear in their voices. You can hear in the way that they respond. You can see them. They're young. They're naive. They're probably all drinking. They shouldn't have been underage. We've all done it. Let's not pretend. When, you know, I didn't really have to do it in high school because the drinking age was 18. Old people be different. So, you know, we all did it. I probably started sampling, you know, beers and stuff when I was 17. But I'm just saying, you know, it's young people. We don't know what happened. And the thing is that all I think the public wants, pretty much, it's not everybody, is the same thing, or the same things, I should say, the parents want, and that is transparency. Transparency and honesty, and at least some energy that is pushed into investigating this, right? That goes along with investigating this. I think that's all people really want, because you heard the psychiatrist say, or the psychotherapist say, where there's a vacuum, people or avoid, people are going to fill it. And I've been saying that every single time. And that's why, Monique and I felt differently about, the police and whether they should be alerting the media and all that. I think it's important in this day and age. And like you said, a lot of police departments, in order to avoid like all these phone calls and being bombarded, they just get a social media and they just post it right to social media. And the news agencies and independent news agencies just take it from the thing and said, they just posted this saying that audio is not authenticated, or whatever such and such said isn't true, or this is true. And then, whatever, or they don't have to say anything. They don't have to confirm anything, right? But it's easy to knock some stuff down. This is Elliot. Let's see. I think it's later on in something that we played earlier. Let's listen.
Else that might have done anything to Nolan. He would have asked follow-up questions that were leading towards the truth. I perceive the best reason that these kids are most comfortable with him doing the interviews is because he's not actually asking any question about the truth. He's being very soft and allowing them to push their narrative. Now, as I watched this part of the story, this part of the clip, this part of the interview, I do want to point out a couple of things that as a psychotherapist who makes a living interviewing people, doing sessions with people, there were two things that stood out to me that I would be interested in clinically. The first thing, actually there's three. The first thing is he sat with his arms crossed the whole time. And that is a non-verbal communication of I'm protecting myself. That is a non-verbal way of saying I am protecting myself from what is here. Your body almost can't help it when you're in situations like this. And these are the sorts of things that we are trained to attend to. The other nonverbal thing that he is doing, and he does this throughout the entire interview, and so did the other friend being interviewed by the same person, is he's leaning away from the conversation, almost as if there's like the conversation itself is a tangible object that he wants to lean away from. So the entire interview, his body language is very stoic and very much leaning away. And that would be something to me that I would note, and I would be thinking, I wonder what is happening here. Another thing that stood out to me, and people, when I talk about the way that as a clinician, I would be thinking about their body language and their voice and the tone in these interviews. Everybody grieves differently, so on and so on. But I'm actually not talking about grief. I'm talking about communication and more specifically trauma. Losing someone that you're referring to as your best friend 2 weeks ago, roughly, should impact you and should impact you in a significant way. But here's the real key that is present in this particular interview. You are under suspicion that you were involved, and your friend group was under suspicion that you were involved. Whether you were involved or not, and at this point, only he knows the absolute truth, the presence of fear should be overt. While in this interview, there should be fear. So being asked the question, were you involved, or do you know of anybody else that was involved? There should be some noticeable presence of fear, anger, or some sort of emotion connected to that stressor, because that should release the chemical in your body known as cortisol that should cause you to demonstrate that you are under stress. So for him to very, very calmly just say no to both of those questions, again, I don't know that he's lying, but I do know that that's unusual. And as a clinician, that is something that I would definitely be noticed. I would definitely be aware of as it was happening when I was interviewing him. And I would definitely want to investigate and ask further questions.
All right, Truth Gang. Truth Gang. We are so glad that you guys decided to stop by and kick it with us tonight. But we got jobs, right? Tomorrow we'll meet up tomorrow. We got jobs. That means that we are out of here for tonight. I love each and every one of you. I appreciate every one of you. Replay Gang, we appreciate you too. So if you can meet us here tomorrow night so we can get back into the Nolan Wells case, I'd appreciate it. So tonight we're going to end with the Truth Gang anthem. And we appreciate stick around and listen to the words. I wrote it. We love you. Peace and love.
Truth game, no lies. No violence. We stand on facts. That's law. If it don't add up, we don't ride. No feelings in it, we won't prove. Standing 10 toes on the truth. On truth, no cap, no spin, no disguise. Nope, we see through every lie. We do pressure on them every time. Crush truth game, never fall in line. No, I don't move out rumors, I verify first. If the story's shaky, I dissect every word. Cross-check facts, I don't play with assumptions. If it don't make sense, I'm pressing the button. Independent mind, I don't follow the crowd. If the truth get buried, I'm digging it out.
On your
They
way
be
out.
talking loud, but they stand on nothing. I'm building a case while they building discussions. No bias in my lens, I don't lean left or right. If it's wrong, I'ma call it on sight. Every claim get tested, every angle reviewed. We don't chase opinions, we align with the proof. What's we all up on ride. No feelings in it, we won't prove. Standing 10 toes on the truth. Nope, we see through every lie. We do pressure on them every time. Pressure, truth game, never fall in line. No shortcuts taken, we follow the trail. Even if it led somewhere people won't tell. I don't care who involved, I don't care who it hit. Truth don't pick sides, it expose what it is. Every detail matter. I'm zooming it in from the start to the end, where the gaps where it been. If the timeline off, then the story collapse. And I'm bringing it up, I ain't letting it pass. We don't fold under pressure, we applied it instead. They be hoping we stop, we apply it again. 10 toes planted, we ain't moving for nothing. Truth gang solid, yeah, we stand on something. It don't matter where we go. It don't matter what it shows. We know truth ain't easy, but it's necessary. Truth over everything that's lost. That's all. If it don't add up, we don't rock.
Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for coming. Please like, share, and subscribe. Come back again.